Always on time and always ready to go. We are 13 days out from the bombshell with the 23rd pick. The Philadelphia Eagles select Ty Simpson, quarterback, Alabama. That'll make Jalen Hurts the backup quarterback in Philadelphia. How you doing? Would that make Z happy or make him sad that they drafted a Bama guy again, but this time in the first round? How you doing? Hey, Sills, happy Football Friday. We all know that AJ's potentially being dealt regardless of what we hear. It can fall through if Howie doesn't get what he wants. In return, nothing is ever 100%. Okay, agreed. With the 23rd pick in the NFL's 2026 draft, the Eagles select Ty Simpson, quarterback, Alabama. How would that go? Oh, man. You talk about ultimate content. That would be the ultimate dagger. And you know what I would see? Jalenites' little hearts crumbling like snowflakes, just crumbling to the ground. It would just be crumbling. Oh my God. They did it. They drafted a quarterback. I'll tell you, if they draft a quarterback in the first 3 rounds, he's definitely out. How you doing? Yes, sir. Oh, and by the way, I wrote this down. One of the thousands of things I wrote down today. I am now officially 1,000% certain that A.J. Brown will be dealt post June 1. Thank you, Diana Russini. Thank you, Mike Vrabel. It is now officially 1,000% on the Big Sills trade meter that A.J. Brown will be dealt post June 1. Mark it down. Signed, sealed, and delivered. Ready to rock. And here's your inside scoop. 1,000% sure that AJ will be dealt. Big Sills, should the Eagles take your guy from the Canes? You'll never have a chance. He's too good. The offensive tackle? No. Maybe a wide receiver? Okay. The other defensive end, Messidor? You might be around in that room. What do you care about Diana Russini's husband? Who gives a shit? What are you, a marriage counselor? The hell do you care about the guy's husband? Or care about her? What do you give a shit? I never got people like Brian. Poor husband. He is laughing, though. I don't give a shit about her husband. I don't give a shit about Mike Vrabel's wife. Give me the news. I don't care how you get it. Wait a minute, Sills. Are you endorsed? No. I don't care about people with low character. That has no bearing on my life. I'm not lowering my life because they lowered their character. What's that got to do with me? How far do I have to go to make you feel better about yourself? That's not going to happen. You want me to feel better because somebody else out there is getting intel a certain way. By the way, I got a question. One thing about the TMZ story of the week. You know what that is? Hey, Big Z, I got a new Big Sills conspiracy. Who wants to hear my conspiracy and my conspiracy angle in this whole Diana Russini, Mike Vrabel story? You want to hear it? This is my takeaway. Who wants to hear what I think? Okay, ready? So, how do you know that it wasn't another NFL team that hired this guy or girl to take these pictures of Mike Vrabel and Diana Russini? Follow me. So, Mike Vrabel, okay? How do you know it wasn't somebody from the Bills? So far, what we're understanding, these pictures were shopped to they were shopped to TMZ for 4 figures. They were shopped to other outlets like Newsday and a lot of other places. They were shopped. And it landed on the New York Post. The New York Post won't comment, but supposedly they had to pay 4 figures. So somebody hired somebody to stalk Mike Vrabel and Diana Russini to get pictures of them at a resort in Arizona? Who would do that? Who would do that? Who would do that? Somebody says in here, the husband. Why would the husband do that? The husband, if he divorces her, he still gets half of the shit that's in the home. How does that benefit him? So you're saying the husband sabotages his old lady's career because of the way she is? Okay, so you agree then. Something's funny here with this. Who hired the person to go and take pictures? Was it a team? How do you know it wasn't the Buffalo Bills? They heard that Diana Russini was playing footsies with Mike Vrabel, and they wanted to get dirt on the guy to kind of pollute a deal to get A.J. Brown up there. I know, Bob Lang. There you go. That's up Bob Lang's lane. Bob Lang would do something like that. Are you kidding? Mr. Propaganda himself. That'd be right up that guy's lane. How you doing? Just saying. Yep, Mike Vrabel's wife. It was Howie. How about the Eagles? Eagles wanting to smash that deal and make the Patriots have to pay more because of the scandal now. Holy cow. Howie hires a paparazzi guy to go and take pictures of Mike Vrabel playing footsies with Diana Russini. How you doing? Yeah. Hey, let's not forget something about the greatness of the Patriots. Wasn't that owner found in a Chinese massage parlor a couple years ago playing footsies? Didn't they have some sort of deal going? The guy wins the AFC Championship, and he's down in a massage parlor in Orlando. Mr. Back Rub. There he is. If you're 100% sure, get the Patriots on the show and confirm it with Howie. Remember, you even stated you can't trust reporters. My report's not from reporters. Big Sills, would it be a mistake to give Carter Garrett type of money? Jaylen Carter's not Garrett. He's not Garrett. Jaylen Carter is going to get somewhere near what the defensive tackle in Kansas City's getting. He's not getting Myles Garrett money. Edge rushers versus D tackles, nobody's in that conversation. He may get $33, $34 million. He ain't getting 42. It's not that of an impact position compared to edge. He's not getting Garrett money. That's not happening. Okay? Journalism, reporting is dead. Why you think certain sports athletes don't like talking to journalists or reporters like Dirty Diane? Dirty Diane ought to be ashamed of herself. That's a different conversation. Howie said, you got me in AJ trade, but I'll show you. Carter, 11 sacks. Carter will never get 11 sacks. He's not that committed to the sport yet. He hasn't proven to me he's committed. Isn't that the biggest problem with Jaylen Carter and the money right now? How committed are you on being great? How committed? I don't believe he's that committed yet. He hasn't shown me. He hasn't shown me how committed he is on being great. Get this. And Reyes, Carter has to prove stuff to Sills. Well, I think Carter has to prove stuff to the Eagles. So this contract is coming, right? This contract is coming, right, Reyes? You were fucking dead wrong last year about Reed Blankenship. And Jalen Hurts' contract. This contract's coming, right? When? By the way, where are you getting the money from? You're not going to restructure your quarterback's deal. So where are you getting the money from? Six sacks is rookie season. Doesn't mean shit. This year, Sills, get ready. 4K Hurts, 10 sacks from Carter. Write it down. If Jalen Hurts throws for 4K, they'll win 6 ball games. Carter has Jerome Brown or better ceiling, but he won't reach it if he's not committed to the game. Yes, I agree with that. Seals, what's our biggest need, edge or safety? As a matter of fact, we're going over all of this here in the next couple minutes. All right. So, has drafted 15 first rounders in his time as general manager of the Philadelphia Eagles. How well do you think he's produced in the first round? How well? Okay. How well? How you doing, Steve? Appreciate you watching the show, my friend. Thank you very much. You tell me, how is Howie done in the 15 draft picks since he's been a head of personnel? Does Crosby move you off 8 win Sills? Yes. We love the truth. Thank you. How is Howie Roseman done in his 15 picks in the first round? What do you think? Just, again, not rocket science. How do you think he's done as a guy who's drafted in the first round since he's been ahead of personnel? What do you think? Let's take a look at that. I wrote this down here. And by the way, we're going to go over tight ends, safeties, receivers on the team, edge rushers, and the Eagle Curtain offensive line. So he has drafted 15 players during his time as general manager. Howie Roseman has 15 picks that he has done. C plus or B minus? Let's take a look at that. All right. Here is the general manager. Let's start with edge rusher. Brandon Graham. Fantastic pick. Let's do edge. Fantastic. How about Marcus Smith in 2014? What do you make of Marcus Smith? Marcus Smith. We're going over all the positions that Howie has drafted in the first round. Brandon Graham, let's go A. Brandon Graham. A. Marcus Smith. What do you give Marcus Smith? What do you think? By the way, I'm going off of his resume. Then we'll form an opinion after. Fair enough? So that's a bust. That's an F. A, F. Let's go to Derek Barnett. What do you make of Derek Barnett? We're going over all 15 positions. Okay? Derek Barnett, Howie Roseman as general manager, has drafted 15 players. What do you make of Derek Barnett? C minus? C? How about we be positive here and we go C minus? Derek Barnett, C minus. By the way, how about this? Look at what recovered the Super Bowl fumble. What does that mean? Because he recovered the Super Bowl fumble, you give him a C fucking plus? That has no bearing on his talent. I'll tell you what. I'll give him extra credit for that. C plus instead of a C minus. So far, Howie Roseman has drafted Brandon Graham, A. Marcus Smith, F. Derek Barnett, C plus. Fair enough. Let's go to the next one. We're going to do all positions that he has drafted since he's been the general manager. How about Nolan Smith? Nolan Smith. How about Nolan Smith? As a matter of fact, Howie Roseman has drafted 1, 2, 3, 4 edge rushers since he's been the general manager of the team. Brandon Graham in 2010, Marcus Smith in 14, Derek Barnett in 17, and Nolan Smith in 23. Okay? How do you think he's done? Nolan Smith, what grade would you give him? What do you think? Nolan Smith. So far, Brandon Graham an A. Marcus Smith an F. And Derek Barnett a C plus. Nolan Smith a fucking B. Are you crazy? My God, he's not even going to be a starter. He's too small. That's another C plus. So, let's take this out and how he's done in his time as general manager at the edge position. So let's take a look here. Howie Roseman, A, 0.0 plus 0.0 plus 2.5 plus 2.5 equals divided by 4 equals. Howie Roseman gets a C for his edge rushing drafting since 2010 when he drafted Brandon Graham. So he's average at the edge position. Fair enough? Okay. So let's move to the next one. Seals, I think the Eagles looking to draft a receiver that's like the kid in Green Bay. They brought in big guys that can move around. Yes. So let's now move to defensive tackle. Fletcher Cox. What grade would you give Howie Roseman for Fletcher Cox? A. Completely agree. A. A. No doubt. That was in 2012. In 2022, what grade would you give Jordan Davis? Jordan Davis is a two-down player. He is not getting an A. That is not happening. Me, I'm giving him a B. He's played 1 year of outstanding ball, still two down, and he's not a three-down guy. So it's a B. Here's another one. Hey, where's that guy? Then get the fuck out of here. Jaylen Carter. What would you give Howie Roseman for Jaylen Carter? What would you give him for Jaylen Carter? What do you think? Carter. I'm going to go A-. I'll go A-. So, Howie, drafting defensive tackles. He's drafted 15 players in the first round, with him at being ahead of all of this and being the general manager. So, Howie, 4.0, clear, plus 3.0, equals, divided by 3. Howie gets an A- for drafting interior defensive tackles. He's been exceptional at drafting interior DTs. Okay? Exceptional. Exceptional. He's been. Okay? He's been average at edge. And he has been he's been above average, A- at DT. Okay. Let's go to OT. Lane Johnson. Howie Roseman has drafted 15 players since he's been general manager. What grade would you give him drafting Lane Johnson? It's clearly an A. Okay? Here's the next one. What grade would you give Howie for drafting Andre Dillard in 2019 in the first round? Andre Dillard. Hey, guy, I said get the fuck out of here. What do you think? Andre Dillard. What would you give Andre Dillard? A D? Okay. So, let's see here. Howie Roseman, 4.0 plus, let's see here, 4.0 plus 1.0 equals divided by 2. Howie's been in the middle of the pack and offensive tackles. C+. Lane Johnson, Andre Dillard. Let's go to the next one. Wide receivers. Jalen Reagor. Jalen Reagor. What do you think? F. Okay. Devontae Smith. What do you think? Devontae Smith. A. Once again, hit or miss. C+. Right? Okay. Remember, Howie has drafted 15 players as general managers of your Eagles. So, here's the next one. Cornerback. Quinyon Mitchell. Obviously, it's an A move. Okay? Interior offensive line. IOL. Danny Watkins. What would you give him for Danny Watkins for drafting a guard in the first round? What do you think? By the way, there's no opinion here. We're talking about people he's drafted. That's an F. There's a guy at Penn State that's an interior lineman. This is why we're asking the question. Okay? So, interior offensive lineman so far is an F. Okay. Quarterback. Carson Wentz. I wonder how you guys are going to look at this pick. Carson Wentz in the first round. What would you give Wentz for Howie drafting him? Yeah, whatever, Prince. Not true. Wentz. A B? A B? Hey, I go B. So, let's take a look at his 15 picks. Let's go here. C for edge. A for DT. C plus for OTs. C plus for wide receiver. A for corner, F for interior offensive lineman, and B for quarterback. So let's see how he's done. That's how Bledsoe does it too. So let's take a look how the Eagles have drafted in the first round under Howie. Let's take a look there. 2.0 plus. Oh, plus. 2.5 plus. 2.5 plus. 4.0 plus. 0.0 plus 3.0 equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 equals. So Howie's basically drafted about a C plus with his 15th picks. About a C plus. Ed C, DTA, OT, Lane, and Andre Dillard. Hit or miss. Rager, Devontae. Hit or miss. Quarterback. I give him a B there for Wentz. Interior offensive line, F. Cornerback, Quarterback, A. And a quarterback, B for Wentz. So Howie's floating around a C plus as a drafter, with his strongest places being defensive tackle. The best that he has done as a drafter has been in the defensive tackle position. Because, again, and here, let's go back into his resume, too. When you even look at head of personnel. Here, we'll go here. Howie Roseman. And on his resume, Roseman, Director of Football Administration, personnel from 08. Now, he's not the GM here. 08 to 09. So GM from 2010 to 2014. And then from 2015 to 2026. So let's take a look at his entirety as a draft guy. By the way, there's nothing about opinions here. This is what he's done. Okay? I mean, this is who they've drafted. So get this. Fire how nobody's fucking talking about firing him. This guy's making shit up. Who said fire fucking Howie Roseman? I'm asking you how well he's looked at and as a draft guy. I'm looking at all of his draft picks. And this asshat, this douchebag is saying, I'm saying fire him? Where are you getting that from, you fucking idiot? Honest to God, where are you getting that? I'm going over who he's drafted. Man, dude, last time, honest to God, end of story. Let's go over here. Shambles. Yeah, okay. Let's see. So let's go to Howie Roseman's drafting from 2008 to 2009. Let's take a look at this. The entire draft. So here's the 08 draft. Let me double check. Howie Roseman, 2008, Vice President of Player Personnel. Actually, from 2010 to 14. Let's go to 10 to 14. So 10 to 14. I don't want to do Director of Personnel because that doesn't mean shit. So let's take a look at his drafts. 2010. He was the GM for 2010 to 2014. You guys tell me, what do you make of this draft? Okay? Brandon Graham, Nate Allen, Daniel Teo Nassau, Trevor Lindley, Keenan Clayton, Clay Harbor, Ricky Sapp, Riley Cooper, Jamar Chaney, Jeff Owens, and Kurt Coleman. What do you make of that draft? His first draft as GM. What do you make of that? 2010. What would you give that? Outside of Brandon Graham, that's pretty atrocious, isn't it? That's a pretty shitty draft. Now, it's his first draft. How much can you take into context of anything? Not a bunch of those players did shit in his first draft. It's okay. There's a lot more to talk about here. Hang on. Outside of Brandon Graham, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You had 14 picks, and not one of them were outside of Brandon Graham, and maybe Nate Allen was worth a shit. What do you say? That's a D? 2010 is a D? Let's go to 2011. Let's see here. Here's 2011. Danny Watkins, Jaquan Jarrett, Curtis Marsh, Casey Matthews, Alex Henry, Dion Lewis, Julian Vandervelde, Jason Kelsey, Brian Roll. You guys drafted Greg Lloyd? The backer that played for the Steelers? That's not Greg Lloyd. That can't be. No way, that's Greg Lloyd. Greg Lloyd. No. Okay. Yeah, that's not Greg Lloyd. Greg Lloyd. Hang on for a second. Well, like I said, we're talking about the guy's draft history. And we'll talk about it after. Okay? No. Hang in there. This is 2. Okay? So 2011 was dog shit. That's another D at best. 2012. Fletcher Cox, tremendous. Michael Kendricks. Vinny Curry, Nick Foles, Brandon Boykin, Dennis Kelly, Marvin McNutt, Brandon Washington, Bryce Brown. Great pick in Fletcher. Curry wasn't that bad a player. He played a shitload of games for you. 140 games, something like that. Kendricks wasn't awful. And Kelly played a lot. Played 131 games for you. I think that's a pretty good draft. I think that's a production draft. Plus, you got Foles in that, who would end up helping you win a Super Bowl. That's probably a B- draft. To be fair, I mean, you got Curry played 100 games. Kelly played 130 games. Kendricks played 100 games. Fletcher played almost 190 games. Probably played 200 with the playoffs. B minus. That's a decent draft. You got production out of that. So 2012 is pretty good draft pick and pretty good draft for Howie. 2013. Lane Johnson, tremendous pick. Zach Ertz, tremendous pick. Look at the first two picks in the draft. 170 plays to date. And Zach Ertz played 181 games for you. That wins the draft. And what's crazy is that Jordan Poyer would go on and play other places, and he still played 180 games for you. You got three players, okay? You got three players that played 180 games in one draft is exceptional. Now, Poyer did a lot of his shit other places, but he's played a boatload of games. I say that draft, 2013 draft, that's a B plus. That's a B plus draft. We got one more until he gets put to the broom closet. 2014. Howie Roseman. Marcus Smith. Terrible. Jordan Matthews. Terrible. Josh Huff. Jalen Watkins. Taylor Hart. Ed Reynolds. Bo Allen. That's a D draft pick. Now, let's go to Howie when he came back from 2015. Okay? (2015) Nelson Aguilar, Eric Rowe, Jordan Hicks. Jordan Hicks wasn't a bad ball player. Almost had 20 sacks in his career. Corey Shepard, Randall Evans, and whomever. This draft in 15. That's a D plus, C minus. Whatever you want to land on. 15. Here's 2016. Carson Wentz, great pick. Isaac Seumalo, great pick. Wendell Smallwood, terrible pick. Vitali, not a good pick. Blank Countess, terrible pick. Jalen Mills, a really good pick because you got him in the 7th, and he played 122 games. So 16, C plus. 17. Again, folks, remember what we're doing here. How about this? I'm just pointing out who he drafted. That's what I'm doing here. I'm pointing out his history of drafting. Now, can people get better? Yes. So we'll talk about this in a minute here. So 2017. Derek Barnett. I think Derek Barnett underachieved. Sidney Jones. Rasul Douglas was a pretty good player. Matt Collins was a dude. This draft here, C, maybe. Donnell Pumphrey didn't even make the team. Shelton Gibson, Nathan Gary, Elijah Qualls. Derek Barnett underachieved. 2017, D+. 2018. Dallas Goedert. Great pick. Avonte Maddox, a starter. Josh Sweat, exceptional. Matt Pryor, still playing. And Jordan Mailata. That's an A draft. 2018, that's his first A draft, was 2018. Goddard, Maddox, Sweat, Pryor, Mailata, all have contributed in some way, form, or fashion on the Eagles' success. Even so much as to say today that they have contributed to the success of the football team. And that's almost 10 years ago. That's a hell of a draft. You still got players from 2018. Okay? I mean, that's a hell of a draft. 2019. Andre Dillard, 69 starts for the 22nd pick in the draft is a disaster. Miles Sanders, you got a Pro Bowl year out of him. Okay? And he helped you get to the Super Bowl, and he had the 4th all-time leading rushing yards in Eagle history. Had a great year. Arcega-Whiteside, not very good. Sheriff Miller, not good. Clayton Thornton, not very good. In that draft, because of Sanders, that's it. But he's Dillard was a bust. That's probably a D+ draft. So let's go now. And by the way, there's no debating this. This is what he's done. (2020) Jalen Reagor, bust. Jalen Hurts, 2nd pick in the draft, 2 Super Bowls, a Super Bowl MVP. It's an A pick. Don't get it confused with how I think of him as a talent. As a draft pick, has he over-excelled where he was taken as a draft pick? Over and above. The most glowing thing I could possibly say about Jalen Hurts is in 2020, he was the 53rd player taken, and he's accomplished what he's accomplished. It's by far the best draft pick and the most impactful draft pick that Howie has picked in his 15 in his years picking as the general manager of the team. That's about as glowing as I can get. 2nd round draft choices at quarterback are not supposed to excel like that. Yeah, because the quarterback position is more valuable than the right tackle position. And he's a 2nd rounder. I didn't say Lane was not a better player. You're confusing it. Again, nobody's saying he's a better player, but where he was drafted and what he accomplished as the 53rd player taken and the position he was taken at, that's Howie Roseman's best draft pick. And there's no getting around it. Jalen Hurts, franchise quarterback, accepted. Too bad the Eagles aren't. That's why they're moving on from him. Taylor, Kayvon Wallace, Jack Driscoll played. Quez Watkins. That draft sucks without Hurts. Hurts saved the draft pick, the draft class of 20, because the draft class itself gets a D+. But Hurts is the only thing saving that 20 class. The rest of those guys were like nobodies. You didn't have one player play over 70 games. Not one that was worth a shit in rounds 1 through 4. Hurts saved that draft. 2021. Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, Milton Williams, Zach McPherson, Kenny Gainwell, Marlon Taputa, Teron Jackson, Patrick Johnson. Exceptional. Devontae, Landon, Milton, Gainwell. Gainwell had like 1,700 yards with you guys. I mean, 2021, that's an A draft. (2022) Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens, Nakobe Dean's no longer on the team. You can't count that as a good pick. He never lived to a second contract. Karan Johnson and Grant Calcaterra. That, to me, is another A draft. But, again, you don't get credit for Nakobe Dean. He's not on your team. I mean, if he's such a good draft pick, why ain't he here? Cam and Jordan. Nakobe was good for you. He played 40 games for you. 40 games. Let's see here. 2023. Jaylen Carter, A pick. Smith, C+. Steen, starter, B+. Sidney, bust. Keeley, bust. McKee, a great pick at 6. You had better picks at 6th and 7th round than you did at 3, 4, and 5. Because you got Moro Ajomo and Tanner McKee. The 2023 draft, my opinion, even with those two busts in the middle, Sidney Brown and Keely Ringo, Nolan Smith, Tyler Steen, Jalen Carter, Moro Ajomo, and Tanner. That's an A. I'm going to be as fair as I can with this. (2024). We won't do 25 because 25, there's not enough sample size on those dudes yet. Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Jalix Hunt, Will Shipley, Anis Smith, Jeremiah Trotter, Trevor Keegan, Johnny Wilson, and Dylan McMahon. That's another A draft. There is no question from 2018, something happened to Howie Roseman. Because from the 18 draft, because let me put it this way to you about Howie here. From 2018, you had an A draft in 18, D plus in 19, D plus in 20, A in 21, A in 22, A in 23, and A in 24. Those 2 years of 19 and 20, because the quarterback was in the 20th draft, the 2020 draft, and saved that draft, you really only had one shitty draft in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. This is why you're getting into a position where you can't pay all these guys. The only draft that really stunk was 19. But when he first started, this is why his reputation was horrible. D, B minus, B plus, D plus, C minus, D plus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. His first 8 years as GM, he stunk. With a couple good picks in there, like Lane and Fletcher. The rest of them, the totality of the draft and the picks those years, they stunk. But from 18 to 24, I'm not sure there's really been a better team in the league that's drafted better than that. Okay? Now, the question comes down to this. Okay? With all this drafting here and with all these players, now you know why Howie Roseman looks at the coaching staff and looks at these guys, and this is why there's going to be massive change. Howie's looking at the draft going, I'm bringing all these good players in, and yet we have we've won 2 Super Bowls since 2017, and we've been to 3. Personally, with that record of drafting, you should be the Chiefs, but you're not. Why? Quarterback and the head coach. What's the difference from you in Kansas City since 2017? What do you think? What's been the difference? From 2017, Kansas City, to 2026, what's been the difference? The quarterback and the head coach. Correct? Would we agree? The coach and the quarterback. Okay? We all agree that Nick is not Andy Reid and that Hurts is not Patrick Mahomes. Okay? Fair enough. So, I mean, at the end of the day here, this is why you have a change and a course change, because he's brought good talent in. Okay? All right? Here, look at this. Andy Reid never won shit without Mahomes. That's such a terrible take. That's assuming Mahomes would win without Andy. You're assuming that. Sills, that's fair, bud. That could be the case for 98% of the league. Nobody will ever find a Mahomes or Reid for another X amount of years. Okay, SS. Well, what have they done in Seattle? What have they done in Seattle? Okay? So wait a minute. Still a fact? So you're telling me then that Don Shula's not a good coach because he couldn't win with Dan Marino and he won with Bob Greasy, or that Bill Walsh is a bad coach, or the only reason he won is because he had Montana, or that Tom Landry only won because he had Roger Staubach. Pick another great coach. And Jimmy Johnson only won because he had Troy Aikman. Is that right? Is that what you're saying? All those great coaches that coached before in the NFL during the Super Bowl era, that Lombardi would never have won if it wasn't for Bart Starr. Is that what you're saying? What did Lombardi ever win without Bart Starr? He went to Washington, didn't win shit. He had 1 year, obviously. What did he ever win? So, according to some of you, all those legendary coaches in pro football history, if they didn't have a quarterback, they're not very good coaches either then. So Andy Reid is not a great coach, according to some folks in here, if it wasn't for Mahomes. And yet, every other great coach is tied into a quarterback. Every one of them, except for Joe Gibbs. So Chuck Noll, great call, Kyle. Chuck Noll is not a very good coach because he didn't win and even had losing seasons without Terry Bradshaw, according to some people in here. Is that right? Okay, Senor. So, every coach in the National Football League's history falls under this same premise. Is that what you're saying? Bill Walsh, Chuck Noll, Tom Landry, Don Shula, all the great coaches in NFL history are just like Belichick. Because without those quarterbacks, you're saying those quarterbacks on those teams, you're saying that Chuck Noll, wait a second, answer the question. Belichick's not the only guy that falls in that lane. What did Bill Walsh do without Joe Montana? Wait a second. Okay, you're disputing my take? My take is that's a stupid fucking take by you and others that think Andy Reid is nothing without Mahomes. That's a stupid take. Every coach that's in the Hall of Fame, that's won multiple Super Bowls, is tied to one quarterback. Every one of them, except Joe Gibbs. Every one of them. So according to you, not me, because I think that's a dumb take. Don't back down? Okay. Let me show you guys something. And let me go here. All-time winningest coaches. NFL history. Let's see if they're tied to your takes on that. So Don Shula never won a Super Bowl with Dan Marino. The only quarterback he ever got the Super Bowls with was Marino, one. And the other three he got to were with David Archer, one, and with Bob Greasy. He got to 5, actually. And Greasy won 2 and lost 1. So the only quarterback, really, that Don Shula had that won him Super Bowls was Bob Greasy. Okay? Without Greasy, what did Shula do? Get to the game? He never won the game. Okay? Fair enough. Let's go to the next guy. Bill Belichick. Tom Brady. Okay? Belichick, Brady. The next guy, Andy Reid, Mahomes. Tom Landry, Staubach. Chuck Noll, Bradshaw. See anybody else? That's won multiple Super Bowls. Or Tom Coughlin, Eli Manning. So all of these guys, according to some of you, you think Chuck Noll, if you're going to use the Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, you're saying if that's the case, that Andy Reid was nothing without Mahomes, Chuck Noll's nothing without Bradshaw, Tom Landry's nothing without Staubach, Belichick is nothing without Brady, and Shula's nothing without Greasy. Is that correct? And Shanahan is nothing without Elway. Is that what you're saying? Because if you're going to apply it to one, you got to apply it to all. Get this. This guy says I'm playing. I'm not that smart guy. I'm applying your philosophy. If Andy Reid is a product of Mahomes, you're telling me that Bill Walsh is not a product of Joe Montana? Man, are you fucking dumb? Senor, take the day off, guy. Man. Tom Coughlin has the worst quarterback of that list. Eli should be a Hall of Famer. But wait a minute. That's not the point in the conversation here. Andy Reid, people in there are saying Andy Reid is a product of Mahomes. So are these other coaches, a product of their quarterback. Phil Simms was the most valuable player in the Super Bowl. He did it in spite of Phil Simms. Phil Simms has got the greatest performance in Super Bowl history for when it comes to percentage-wise. He was 26 of 28. He won it in spite of him. Simms won the MVP award. I mean, what do you mean he won it in spite of him? Simms, if most of the players that they have ranked high are taken, do you think they entertain Simpson if he's there? No, I don't. No, I don't. Not at one. If he's there in the second round, I think they would take him. He's trying to switch up what? Wait a minute. You guys said Andy Reid is nothing without Patrick Mahomes. I know. Can you fucking believe that? My wife's laughing at you. It's so ludicrous. They're also saying, get this, Kim, that Bill Walsh is nothing without Montana. They're too young. You're too young to know how great those coaches were. You're out of your fucking minds, man. Do you really think Tom Landry is not a good coach and the only reason he was is because he had Staubach? Man. Great coaches coach great talent. They get the best out of their players. Hey, Dan, how about this one? You think it's any coincidence? Hey, Bo, check this one out. You think it's any coincidence that Belichick coached the greatest defensive player in the history of the National Football League in Lawrence Taylor, and he coached the greatest offensive player in the history of the National Football League in Tom Brady? You probably think that's a coincidence, right? Even though Brady was a sixth rounder and the 199th player taken. You probably think that's a coincidence, right? And that he had nothing to do with that. Do you really think that? That that's coincidental? That's right. A coach could suck the game out of you. Was Marv Levy a great head coach for the Bills? Yes. What the fuck? Are you saying that Marv Levy wasn't a great coach on getting to 4 straight Super Bowls with Jim Kelly? I don't think you realize how hard it is to get to that game, let alone win a game. What an epiphany. Two Hall of Fame coaches, Don Shula, and could not win with a Hall of Fame quarterback in Dan Marino. Hey, Ultra Cowboy. He went to 5 Super Bowls and he won 3 AFC championships in a row. One of those teams was undefeated. Are you saying Don Shula wasn't a great coach? He went to 3 AFC. He won 3 AFC championships in a row. One of those teams was undefeated in the era of the Steelers and the Raiders and the Cowboys. And he won 3 AFC titles and 2 Super Bowls in a row, and one was undefeated. And you're saying that guy is not a great coach? Are you crazy? I get it. You can't argue that. It is stupid. It's stupid. Sil's piping up Sirianni. He doesn't even know it. Listen, I've said this to you. I think Sirianni is a product, like George Seifert was, of a great organization that was left intact after Bill Walsh and Carmen Policy took over for John McVay. And they won an additional 2 Super Bowls after the fact. There's a culture in Philadelphia. But the reason why you haven't won multiple is because you don't stay committed to your coaches. You don't stay committed to your quarterbacks. And the difference with those coaches ran their entire ship. They picked the personnel. They picked the coach. They picked the quarterback. They picked the system. They didn't have people in their way. Josh Allen, great quarterback, but can't get to a Super Bowl. Let me guess. It's only because of the roster construction, not a head coach. What head coach in Buffalo has been in Buffalo to help Allen win a Super Bowl? Sean McDermott? Let me guess. Andy does not run the show in Kansas City. They just listen to Andy. Okay. Anybody in here know where Brett Veach came from? Hey, Kyle. Listen to this one, Bo. Where did Brett Veach come from? Kyle, tell people what Brett Veach did in Philadelphia for Andy Reid when he was constructing his first coaching staff. Where did Brett Veach come from? He was a special teams coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. And he started creating, and he was on Andy Reid's coaching staff. And he brought all the people like he was becoming a coach. Andy put him in the front office with Joe Banner. And Andy said, this guy will be a better personnel guy than coach. And Andy Reid brought Brett Veach to Kansas City to take over for John Dorsey, who was the general manager there, who actually brought in Patrick Mahomes. John Dorsey was the guy that went down to Lubbock, Texas, and recruited Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes had no winning record. He had never done shit down there with anything down there with the Red Raiders, right? And he went down there. He came back, and they convinced him to take Mahomes over Mitchell Trubisky. And also, remember what Shannon Sharp said? Deshaun Watson and Mitchell Trubisky will win 10 times more than Mahomes will ever win. Mahomes has been to 5 Super Bowls and won 3 of them. Seals, objectively speaking, Andy still has poor clock management. I think that's gotten better because the quarterback is more calmer in the pocket. Look, Donovan McNabb was a great talent, but Donovan McNabb had a little Dak in him. And every time the big moment came, it was kind of like pressing. I don't think it's folding. I think it's pressing. And I think that's what Dak does. Dak is in that conversation. Also, do you think he's the first ballot Hall of Famer if Bill didn't get in the first time? And happy Friday to you. I think that whole thing with Belichick and Bob Kraft, I think it's jealousy. I think that whole thing went down. Of course, Andy Reid is a first ballot Hall of Famer. If Andy Reid is not a first ballot Hall of Famer, there's no such thing of being a first ballot Hall of Famer. So we are committed to our coach. Doesn't sound like that to me when all you hear is that Jeffrey Lurie was going to fire him after the 5th game of the season in 2024. Mahomes without Andy is not the same Mahomes. Andy out structured around his decision-making and cleaned up the mechanics. Hey, DFW, you know the idiot in here that said that Bill Belichick, what has he done without Tom Brady? Did you hear Brady say what he said? Who was that coach? Who was the quarterback coach that died in New England? QB coach that died in New England. Dick Rebin. He died in 2021 during a training camp. He died having a heart attack during training camp. Get this. Rubin was instrumental in scouting Brady in 20. And his death early in 2001 season deeply affected the team, which gave Belichick and Brady the ability to work closer together. Brady told the story what happened. He went like this. He said, when he died, Bill Belichick took the role on of quarterback coach. Okay? Jealousy. Get this, folks. Senor says, why isn't Bill Belichick a first ballot Hall of Famer? Just curious. A guy that's won 6 Super Bowls, second all-time in wins. I don't know. You tell me. So Brady said this about Belichick. So wait a minute. I'm assuming then. Anyway, you're right. So Brady said this. Belichick called him into the office, and they would play those war games. What do you do on 3rd and 7? This is what you're going to see with 2-eye safety. This is what you're going to see, okay? This is what you're going to see with people that are going to bring you this type of pressure. What are you going to do here? How are you going to do this? Brady said it flat out. Without Bill Belichick schooling him from the greatest defensive mind in the history of the National Football League, he would never have been the player that he was today. Belichick allowed him to see the eyes through the greatest defensive coordinator in the history of the National Football League. And Brady said, without his influence, there is no way I would be the player I was today without Belichick's influence. And you know what else he did? He went on to say this. Belichick would do this. Kim, you'll love this one. Belichick would tell Brady, I want you to do me a favor. Now, I want you to go to Scott Pioli, and I want you to, who's the player personnel director, and I want you to go to Nick Caserio, who's down in Houston. I want you to ask those men, the players you're playing against, what their strengths and weaknesses are so that you'll know every single position on the field that you're going against. Brady knew what the technique was for a defensive tackle in a 3 technique. Brady knew what the technique was for a safety in 2 high, zone, banjo, Tampa 2. He knew all that because Belichick schooled him in that. The greatest, that second Super Bowl that they won when he was the D coordinator in New York, remember what they did? They only rushed 2 players that game because of the Kelly K gun. And in 1 week, Belichick constructed this defense to go against Jim Kelly and the K gun. And Kelly even said it. They had never seen anything like it. And they were dropping players in coverage that they had never seen dropping coverage. And it confused everybody in that second Super Bowl because they knew that the Kelly gun and the Buffalo Bills had a superior roster. Belichick changed the entire defense up with Lawrence Taylor, and everyone said they couldn't believe what it's how he got the Cleveland job. He formulated a defense that had never been run before overnight. And they beat the Bills in the Super Bowl with it. And you're trying to tell me that Bill Belichick is not a good coach without Tom Brady. Where in God's name do you get that from? That's right. That game plan is in the Hall of Fame. They rushed 2 guys when traditionally they rush 6. They rushed 2. And he came up with this on the airplane back after winning the NFC title. He told Bill Parcells, we can't beat that team straight up. He can't beat that team straight up. So Belichick came up with a defense to beat him. I mean, is the Hall of Fame committee corrupt? I say, I don't believe it's corrupt. I have great respect for those men. No way. I think the system's flawed. I think the way they're voting now sucks. They'll change it back. They'll change it back. Hate the Giants, but yeah, they beat them. And Clyde, that's how they beat them, right? Belichick overnight. Why do you think Belichick was so... Remember the year that the Baltimore Ravens had a problem with the way they were using the motion with the tight end? And John Harbaugh was saying that they were cheating? And we're cheating. Remember, Clyde, what they were doing? They were taking the motion of the tight end and doing multiple motion. And John Harbaugh thought it was illegal, but it wasn't illegal because they had the wide receiver up on the line of scrimmage. And they were moving 2 tight ends. It was Aaron Hernandez and it was Gronk. And they were moving them around. And John Harbaugh said, wait a minute, that's illegal. But what Belichick was doing was he was moving one guy up on the line of scrimmage at wide receiver so the tight ends could move in motion at the same time. And John Harbaugh was saying it was illegal. The next year they stopped that. You can't have multiple players moving in multiple times on the same play. They changed it. Was it cheating? He was manipulating the rule. Get this. That's not cheating, dude. When you can manipulate a rule. Sills, Andy's consistency brought the best out of Mahomes, Vic, and McNabb. Nick and Jalen are on a different page since day one. You said it. Nick does not know how to coach Hurts. That's right. Nick Sirianni has no understanding of coaching Jalen Hurts. So what does he do? Nick coaches his system in his way. Not throwing the ball. I can't even believe I'm at 32 already. Okay? I can't believe that. We're already at 32. This is great. And, but to Zander's point on Nick, you know what Nick does? Nick does this. And this is a sign of a good coach. I can't coach that guy that way. That guy's got a noodle arm. I got a coach running the ball. And so he runs the ball. Yes, sir. Hey, by the way, I can't wait to go over all these draft picks. And I haven't even gotten to the positions yet. Hold on here. I wrote this down here. Tight end, safety, receiver, edge rusher, and offensive line. I think Zander's too worried about like the TMZ story going on. I'm going to start going this. They're going to start doing the Philly hoagie. How you doing? How you doing? Diana Russini, man. She's back on Twitter. I see that thing go well yesterday. Yeah, no, that didn't go too well for her. All right. We're going to do this little drill here with Big Z. And I'm going to ask him, Howie Roseman's 15 picks. 15 picks at first round. How you think that guy's done? Without further ado, did I even write any freaking questions down? Did I? Oh, here they are. Okay. I got to have a boatload of setup questions for my boy Big Z here. Absolutely. Without further ado, what do we got here? Big Sills. Belichick didn't same against the Rams in Brady's first Super Bowl. He rushed 3 and dropped 8, and it confused Warner. I know. All these guys suck. Look at this one here. Love the Jerome Brown jersey. Trying to find a Ben Smith number 26 jersey. Yeah, Big Z got me that. I love that jersey back there, man. All right. Without further ado, we bring in the man that's been covering the TMZ story with Diana Russini and Big Mike Vrabel. Like Harvey from TMZ himself. Man. From Birds 365, the man, by the way, who doesn't want anything to do with any kind of stuff with TMZ, John McMullen. He is my friend. Big Z, Zander Krause. He joins us now here on the show.
Yo, Sills. What's up, brother?
What do you make it a week, man?
What week? This week?
Yeah.
Let me put on my
shit.
How's that? Amen corner for the Masters.
Hold on for a second. Let me go down here. Let me take a look at what's
Amen
going on.
Corner, baby.
Let me
for
see.
The Masters.
Holy shit. Rory McIlroy's 2 up.
Is he? I haven't watched much yet. I'm going to lock in for the weekend a little bit. The week was marred by dumb drama, Sileo. But, Diana Russini has to be responsible for those unprofessional actions that she had. And I don't think it changes much in terms of the outlook of where the team is, and with A.J. Brown. I do wonder what kind of ramifications it has on specifically the Patriots trying to make a trade. Maybe not, maybe none. But, does that exist? Potentially, we will see what happens with it. But It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, my friend.
You know what? And by the way, before I get into the drafting god that you have labeled Howie Roseman, and you know,
Whoa.
what?
When did I label him that?
Well, no, I'm just trying to be.
Answer the question. Has Howie had a good 4 or 5 year run of drafting players in the NFL draft? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
But does that tell the story of who he is?
Well, pre-2021, he wasn't great at drafting. I mean, we all know.
Okay. All right. We're gonna get there. I'm with you.
I know you went back to 2014.
Well, I want to talk about the 15 picks that he has selected since he's been the general manager. I love Eagle guys because you know what they'll do? If there's 20 pages in a chapter, they'll read you 3 of them. They won't read you the other. They won't read you the other ones.
Oh yeah, like you don't fish for things to fit your narrative perfectly. Like a glove, if a narrative fits for Big Sills like a glove, he's using it.
All right, here. What kind of tension do you think is in the building between Jalen Hurts right now in the front office?
What's that? What kind of tension
do you think is in the front office right now? Let me ask you this: if you're the Cole Wynn and you see those stories, and you've been told that you're not getting a contract extension, what kind of tension do you think's in the building?
I think it's probably like passive aggressive tension.
Explain.
Like they're not real open. They like to guard narratives. The Eagles, Jalen's a pretty reserved dude. Like I don't see him as the type of dude that's going to be like, I'm not showing up to training camp. You know what I mean? Any of those things. Howie is kind of the same about narrative control. So is Jeffrey Lurie, always has been. So it's probably a little passive aggressive, but I don't think there's any overt, tension in the building. I think the reporting is accurate in terms of Jalen probably knows he's going to have to, deliver the goods to earn that next deal, next contract. And I would think with the way Jalen Hurts thinks about, just listening to him at the podium all the time, you think he's smart enough to know that, right? I mean, he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's a smart dude. He's not an airhead.
Well, wait a minute. We've been told that he likes yes men around him.
No, we have been told that they've put yes men around him.
Fair.
I tell you who wasn't a yes man.
So you don't think I don't believe Nicole Lynn's a yes person.
I do.
Wait a second. You don't get those type of deals, Zander, by being Mr. Nice Guy.
Well, that's true. But a yes man with your clients is different than being yes man with the teams and the general.
Yeah, but I think a great agent is also telling your client where they are in their careers.
That's true. And being honest. And I don't know Nicole to know. So I'm just going off of what I've seen. But I'll tell you who wasn't a yes man, and which was maybe the single most important development in Jalen Hurts' professional football life, Nick Saban. It's not a yes man to put your starting quarterback on the bench in the national championship in front of 50 million people. And what did that do for Jalen's career? So I don't think Jalen seeks out.
Probably did more for Jalen's career than anyone could ever know.
I agree. 100%. That single decision right there. Now, that's why I said I don't believe Jalen. It's one thing to have yes men around you. It's another thing to seek out yes men.
Do you think this made Brady a better quarterback when Brady had to fight for his job every single game in Michigan? Yeah, and Lloyd Carr constantly trying to replace him. You want to hear this? The year previous, he had won the job. Do you know when Brady went into his final year at Michigan, he was in a battle the first 4 games. And he ended up beating him out. And Lloyd Carr says, you're our guy. Brady was asked if he was in today's nil and transfer portal, will he leave? He goes, I would not be the same player I am today. Yeah. If I didn't have to fight for that job when I was in Michigan in Ann Arbor. So maybe again, because remember what happened. And I think these are telling stories about a guy's character. Jalen Hurts was benched in front of the nation. I'll tell you what Saban didn't have a problem doing, though. He didn't have a problem putting him in that SEC title game.
No, and that was the following year.
And he felt comfortable that guy had the character to go in there and go, I'm going to go in there and
Yeah,
win a ball
and you
game.
know it's disappointing because I feel like people are changing the narrative on that. I mean,
Oh, I think
like,
that was a big moment
but
for
like
them.
here's Raskin says Hurts ran away from the only adversity he's ever faced. He
No
got
way.
benched for a rookie and ran to Oklahoma.
No way.
Well, you know, Rasputin, I'm sorry, man, but I completely 100% disagree with you. Jalen Hurts stayed the entire next season that Sileo graduated, stayed there through the year, bailed the Bama team out in the SEC championship game versus Georgia, let a comeback win. Okay. And then when Saban told him in the offseason, we're going to stay with Tua, Jalen advanced his professional career. I mean, come on, that's what we would all do. You're not going to just sit there and say, okay, I accept my fate and I'm not going to try and push to the next level. I think he exhausted, you know, the resources he could at the University of Alabama, and then he went for the next opportunity to catapult him to the next phase of his career. So, you know, I don't really like that narrative at all. In fact, I completely disagree with it. I think Jalen, I thought he handled that in a pretty honorable way. I mean, I did. I felt that at the time in Alabama. When he transferred to Oklahoma, funny story, my brother will tell you this. We lived in Houston, Texas together in a small apartment, and I watched every single Oklahoma game. My brother was like, why do you watch Oklahoma football now? Like obviously you watch Bama football, but why do you watch Oklahoma football? And I'm like, I like Jalen Hurts, dude. I like Jalen Hurts. I like watching Jalen Hurts. You know, so I was a big fan of him when he did that. I thought he handled it with such, you know, I thought it taught me some things about how to handle adversity.
Yeah.
You know, I respected him for it. That's my point. And yeah, I thought that was a big moment in his career, and it's so different now, you know, where I don't know if you're going to see a lot of that in today's, you know, college.
No, you're bolting. You're bolting.
Well, again, back to the original point of the yes men. Like, I don't believe Jalen seeks yes men. Maybe the Eagles have put yes men around him.
Maybe because
I believe
maybe the owner likes yes men.
Right. And maybe that's why. How many times? Like Jalen has said a couple of times, right? Like, I like to be coached hard, you know. And again,
I've heard that.
You have to be real about like how much control Jalen has. Like Jalen's not going to be the guy hiring the coaches. He's not going to be the ones picking the people who have a say in the organization. Maybe they'll listen to him, talk to him, ask him, but at the end of the day, he's not making those decisions. So, you know, the other thing was the other report that came out was Kellen Moore wasn't a yes man with him at all. Apparently, Kellen Moore pushed back on him more than any others. And that worked well. You know, maybe it didn't make Jalen the best quarterback, but it certainly gave the team a great level of success. So we'll see.
What type of style of play will the offensive line have in 2026?
It's a big question, man. Maybe the biggest question of the year.
I started thinking about this last night, and everyone keeps talking, and I hear you all the time talking about the health. With no Jeff Stoutland, okay? You're not going to run Jeff Stoutland's any form anyway, right, Zander? Or you would have kept Stoutland. You would have kept Jeff Stoutland. If you were going to run anything like
I think Jeff walked, though.
Okay.
Like, I don't think they pushed Jeff out. I think they wanted to make a change, and Jeff didn't.
You can push someone out by saying this.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
But I'm saying, like, if Jeff didn't walk away, I think he'd still be the O-line coach, even with the projected offensive change.
Okay. So then you're under the impression, then I don't want to speak for you here, that they're going to still run some variation of what they did in the offensive line play that they did a year ago. Is that right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't. No, because
what's the style of play? I want to know.
The only thing we have is what we think we know about Mannion, and then we have like what Lane Johnson said. And Lane Johnson did insinuate they're not playing the same brand of football, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to be left on an island as much. We're going to be able to, you know,
more stretch plays.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There's stretch plays where you can get the offensive line moving. You know, Lane can let a guy go by him, and that's not his number one task. You know, he's got to get over to the other side. So I think they're going to change. And I'll say, even if they're perfectly 100% healthy, I don't think that's a good thing for Landon Dickerson specifically. You know, he's a mauler type.
Cam.
See, Cam,
Cam in a back injury.
Healthy.
You want him to get to multiple levels. You think with that back injury, he's going to get to multiple levels on stretch runs?
I mean, you got to see the injury. But, you know, if we live in a perfect world for a second and he is healthy, I don't think that's a bad fit for him. Like Landon, I think if he's perfectly healthy, it's still not a great fit for him. Cam is, one of the reasons they drafted Cam. He did have that second level ability. He did have that athletic,
and he did in 24 get there.
Exactly. So I think if he's all right, or if the back holds up, I think Cam will be okay. But you need these guys to be healthy, dude. Bottom line, I mean, you need these guys to be healthy. If they're not healthy, I think it's going to be a bad year, unfortunately. And by the way, that goes for most teams. If your offensive line stinks, guys, I mean, you're not going to be a great team. Now, I don't think the Eagles' O-line stunk last year, but they're all another year older, Are the stem cells of Bogota, Colombia, or wherever the heck they are, or Medellin, Colombia, are they going to help enough? I don't know, dude. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see.
They got the stem cells of Pablo Escobar, and they're going to try to tell me that they're going to run stretch plays.
Well, sure, okay. I did a mock this morning, I did one of the mock draft simulators on Zander time after the show this morning. I picked 2 O-line in the first 3 picks, and I loved it. I was so pumped about it.
I don't know, man. I think this is changing right in front of our eyes here a little bit. I do. By the way, one last thing on this O-line play. Don't be shocked if the guy who benefits the most from this is Steen. Because it's more finesse than it is power.
My concern with Steen about that is more like he was a tackle. It's one thing to be an athletic tackle versus being an athletic guard. At least it feels like it's different to me. And I don't know. We've never been able to project.
Remember what Sting said? Sometimes you move a tackle inside. He doesn't have the feet to play out there, but he has the feet to play inside.
Who said that on your show? Wasn't it?
Sting. Mark Schlereth.
Right, Mark Schlereth. Yep.
Remember, they moved him in. All of a sudden, the guy fit more inside. I think that's also what happened with Mekhi Becton. They brought him outside. They put him back inside. And, I think you got to have better feet inside because there's more traffic. But, okay. So, Big Z, Howie Roseman, when everything is said and done, they're going to replace the Rocky statue out front. And they're going to put a big old statue of Howie Roseman right there where Rocky used to be. So I want to ask you your opinion. Howie has had 15 first-round picks in his legendary general manager's career. And here they are. Edge rushers. Brandon Graham, 2010.
Cha-ching.
Marcus Smith, 2014. Derek Barnett, 2017. Nolan Smith.
Derek Barnett wasn't a blatant miss.
2023. How do you think Howie drafted 1, 2, 3, 4 guys in his 15 picks? How do you think he's done at edge?
Not great. Okay. Derek Barnett was a push, contributed to a Super Bowl team. All right, they let him walk because he was a penalties, and he had a bunch of those issues. Brandon Graham, obviously a slam dunk, and Nolan Smith is yet to be determined, but that to me is looking like a little bit of a loss. So I don't know. C minus.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. You get a 15-year guy. You got. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but I'm talking about his overall drafting of the position.
Well, the overall drafting includes Brandon Graham.
I got it. Defensive tackle. He's drafted 3
Yeah,
dudes.
That's right. You better get to the next position.
Fletcher Cox in 12. Jordan Davis in 22. Jaylen Carter in 2023. How well do you think he drafted there at DT?
It was Carter. Who else? Sorry, I missed the others.
It was Cox, Davis,
Cox,
and Carter.
obviously. That's pretty good. That's pretty damn good.
That's an A.
Yeah, it's an A.
Offensive tackle, 2 of them. Lane Johnson in 13 and Andre Dillard in 19. How well do you think he's picked on offensive tackle?
That's it. Is that it?
Yeah.
Wow, Lane and Dillard, that's the only first-round tackles.
Correct.
Well, one's a categoric bust, and one is a categoric slam dunk, home run, grand slam.
Hit or miss. Okay.
Yeah, but there's too small of a sample size.
All right. Wide receiver, Jaylen Carter, 2020. and Devontae Smith, 2021.
Jalen Rager.
Jalen Rager.
Yeah, not great, but Devontae Smith's a good pick.
Okay. Like you said, a little small in the sample size. One cornerback in his 15 picks, Quinyon Mitchell. Slam dunk. Interior offensive lineman, Danny Watkins, 2011. Colossal disaster.
As bad as it gets.
Quarterback, Carson Wentz. I'm curious to hear what you think on 2016, one of his 15 picks.
Well, Wentz was obviously a good pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear what you think about it, though.
About Wentz?
Yeah.
I thought that was a great. I think that's a great pick. I mean, I think you obviously in a way, Carson Wentz birthed the growth of the Eagles in the last decade. It wasn't Howie Roseman didn't really become a great general manager really until 2020 or 2021, but he wasn't really able to build anything before that until Carson Wentz. When Carson Wentz got here, that's when things started to really take off. Year 2 of Carson Wentz, they obviously, go on that run. They go to the Super Bowl. That's what really toggled this start. And then kind of even you talk about like the incline there. Even the down, even the other side, when you came over Mount Everest and it was all kind of bad after that, 18, 19, 20, where things got pretty ugly. I think Howie learned a lot from that, and became a lot better of a general manager. So it wasn't perfect, but Wentz was obviously a big integral pick to this team, and I don't think we have Super Bowl #1 without him. So I think that's a great pick.
As a matter of fact, that's where we're going to go next year, but I got to show you a picture. So this was something that was sent to me. I got to show you this, man. You're going to love this. By the way, I love this new AI thing here, man. It clears up everything. It is so
What are you using?
I'm using Grok.
Oh, okay.
Tony Bruno's going off on Missinelli, which is great. I got to show you this. So this was sent to me. This was a CBS. They do the players. You want to see what a meathead I look like? Look at this. Here's me. Here's a meathead. So this is like starting at defensive tackle. Look at this meathead picture.
I saw that picture, dude. That's a great picture.
Yeah, that's the CBS introductions for the first, for the starting team.
That's fire, dude.
Yeah, no, I know. The guy said it.
Fire pick.
Sills, here's a CBS when they did the
You see the pick I texted you?
Yes, who is that?
That's Steve, what's his name? Steve Karachoff? Is that how you say it?
Who is it?
Steve Karachoff or whatever his name. I'm not sure what his name is.
Karachoff. Who is it? Who is the guy?
He says he knows you.
Oh, God, yeah, I know who this is.
Yeah.
I got it. Steve, how you doing, bro? How's it going, Junior?
So somebody sent me that Chris. His name is Chris Kretschmann. Great dude. They are working down there, I believe, right outside Dallas. They're Cowboy creators, but they built the whole studio and everything. It looks freaking incredible.
That's fantastic. Yeah,
but I think they all work together. So he sent me that today at the start of our show and said, "Show this to Sileo. He'll love it."
I do love it. Thank you, man. All right, Big Z, I got a little more of a homework assignment here for you. A little bit.
All right, I'll get a little homework. I never did my homework in school, so maybe I'll do it now.
Me too, man. I never cared about shit like that. I was going for the degree that you folded in your wallet.
I have basically zero memories in my childhood of being at home doing homework. I literally don't. I don't even think I did it.
Dude, how I used to do my homework? I used to get a pen, a little notepad, and I used to write shit down that I had to remember and put it in my shirt, my upper. That's it. That was my homework.
What a crock of shit! You gotta go to school for 8 hours, and then they need your night too.
Yeah. Plus, I got to go to church every day. I got the whole thing to worry about. I got to get communion in the morning. Then I got to go to school. And so, yeah, you took a lot. Then I got to go to practice. Jesus criminy, man. What are you asking me? But on to me. There you go.
All right. So what homework are you giving me?
All right, here we go. So Howie Roseman has been the general manager with stints of 2010 to 14 and then 15 to 26 present. I want to ask you this here. So I'm not going to go through all of it here, but Marcus Smith, Jordan Matthews, Josh Huff. His first draft was an F in 14. It was terrible. The 2015 draft with Nelson Aguilar, Eric Rowe, Jordan Hicks wasn't awful. But Evans and the rest of these guys, that stunk. He had 2 dogs in a row.
Yeah. Terrible.
16 starts to pick up. Wentz, Sayamalo. Those are good picks, dude.
Vaitai was a good pick.
Yeah.
Alapulabati Vaitai. He was never a starter, really. He was kind of a swing guy, but he was solid. Jalen Mills.
I think Jalen Mills was okay.
He played on our Super Bowl team. Green Goblin, baby. I loved Jalen Mills when I was in college.
17, Derek Barnett, Sidney and Rasul Douglas and Matt Collins. I don't know.
Well, Rasul Douglas has actually turned into a nice player. I think he might be done now, but he played a little bit in Green Bay for a while. Matt Collins is still in the league, dude.
By the way, got a contract too, Rasul Douglas.
So and so did Matt Collins. Matt Collins is with the Pats right now.
Yep.
Maybe teammates to A.J. Brown.
How about this 18 pick? Now, watch this from 2018, Z. Goddard, Maddox, Sweat, Pryor, and Mulata. You want to hear something crazy about that pick? These picks? Every single one of these guys is now contributing to the modern-day Philadelphia Eagles still, almost 10 years ago.
Goddard, Sweat not anymore, but Pryor just left.
Okay.
And Maddox. That's amazing. That's an amazing. And remember, that's the year that they traded. Remember, they traded the picks in the future.
They didn't have one.
So they only had 5 that year. Yeah, that was a home run draft.
That's a grand slam draft.
Mulata in the 7th is insane.
Dude, Mulata could be one of the greatest picks he's ever had.
Well, remember, they turned around the next year and took Dillard, and Dillard never got the job because Mulata.
Yeah, here, look. Dillard, Sanders, Whiteside. That's a dog shit draft. The 20 draft was a dog shit draft. The only guy that saves that draft is Hurts, and Hurts is his greatest draft pick, and here's why. For a second-round pick at number 53, for what the guys accomplished at that pick, I'm not talking about how great a talent or this and that. I'm talking about when you drafted Jalen Hurts at number 53 in the second round, you are going to be hard-pressed to find very many 53rd picks in NFL history that has been to 2 Super Bowls, runner-up in an MVP, Super Bowl MVP. I mean, that's as good a pick as you could. That and the Mulata pick are phenomenal. However, Hurts is in the biggest spot in the room. It's the quarterback. Make no mistake about it. That's his best draft pick because it's his most impactful draft pick. The 20 draft stunk, but Hurts covers that.
Hurts covers it
completely.
There wasn't really a good player in 2020.
But Hurts, you got a
Hurts. Yeah. And Quez. I mean, look, for a 6th-round pick, Quez Watkins was a good pick.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, he contributed in a kind of a big way.
I agree. He's probably been the best 3rd wide receiver you've had.
Definitely. In the Jalen Hurts era. Well, I think Dotson's a better player, but they don't use him.
That's right. That's right. So now we're starting, and I want here the 21 pick and going further. And I'm going to ask you at the end of this little exercise here. Devontae Smith, Landon Dickerson, Milton Williams, Kenny Gainwell, and the rest of these guys. Look at this right here. I want to show you something, which is important. Devontae's played 80 games. Landon's played 78 games. Milton's played 79 games. Kenny Gainwell's played 83 ball games. The rest of these guys were marginal players to below marginal. Patrick Johnson's played 70 ball games. That's a fucking phenomenal draft choice.
Patrick Johnson's played that many games?
70 games.
What? The guy that kept getting cut from our practice squad?
It says right here, down here, 70.
With the Giants for a little bit?
I guess it says 70 ball games.
Holy crap. I did not know he played that much. That's a lot of ball games, dude.
Landon's at 78. Devontae's at 80. Kenny's at 83 ball games. So that's a grand slam. Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens. Now, I know some people don't like what I said when I said you don't really get credit for Dean. He's not on the team anymore. You let him go.
Yeah, but you
And
still get credit for drafting the player.
47 ball games he played.
Nakobe?
Yeah.
And so you don't think that's a good use of a third-round pick?
When you don't get him to a second round, when you don't get him to a second contract?
For a third-round pick? Not every drafted player is going to get to a second contract.
Dude, the idea is to get to a second
round. The idea for the
contract.
player, yes, not necessarily the idea for the team.
So you think if you draft a guy and that guy's not on your football team once his rookie contract is up, you think that's a good pick? That's
not what I said. I said for a player in the third round who contributes at the level Nakobe did, I don't view that as a bad pick.
I do. If you don't
no, you don't.
Yes, I do. He's not on the team.
You think every player drafted the team's goal is to get them to a second contract?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
It wouldn't work financially.
Yes, I do.
Work. Milton Williams is a prime candidate.
Oh, wait, you don't think you're going to try to get Quinyon Mitchell to a second contract?
That's his first rounder. That's different, dude.
Okay. Let me get another guy here. So in Philadelphia, if you're not drafted in the first round, they don't want to get guys to second contract.
That's not what I said. I said
if they don't. But dude, if you think an NFL team, it's a good pick in the third round, if that guy's not on the football team after his rookie deal's
up. All right,
up,
do you think Milton Williams was a bad pick?
I think it was a bad decision to let him go.
I don't disagree with that, but that didn't answer my question, Mr. Riding the Fence.
Well, that's a bad move by the organization.
That's fair. I think the scale falls quick. First rounders, you want to get to a second contract. Second rounders would be ideal if they get to a second contract. When you get to the third, fourth, fifth round, that's when I think it starts to teeter off. Obviously, you want third rounders to get to a second contract. Look at Jalix Hunt. But if you have drafted too many good players in round 1 or 2, you're never going to be able to do that financially. It just won't work. I mean, Milton Williams is a perfect example of it. Moro Ojomo was a 7th-round pick. He's going to be a perfect example of it. Nakobe Dean's a good example of it. We got Bowen and Campbell. I don't think you're going to be able to pay.
Okay, wait. Let me ask you this. How do you look at the pick of Nakobe Dean as a third-round pick for the Philadelphia Eagles?
Success. Eagles won a Super Bowl with him being the anchor linebacker on that football team.
He didn't play in a Super Bowl.
Well, he got hurt in the playoffs.
Okay.
Well, just so the first 18 games of the year don't count?
My point is that guy never got to a second contract, and he's not on your football team.
Oh, Sileo.
I completely don't believe. I do not subscribe to that philosophy at all whatsoever, that if you draft a guy in the third round and he's not on your football team once his deal's up and he's not contributing to your football team, that's not a good pick. Nobody said he wasn't a good player. I mean, look, here's another one. Kalijah Kancey's got 13 sacks with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And yes, he was drafted in the first round. He's missed 23 of 51 ball games. You think that's a good pick?
Well, I mean, I think the story's a little early there, but I don't know. I'd have to look a little deeper.
You miss half your games.
Yeah. I mean, players get hurt in the NFL.
Is it a good pick?
You said Nakobe Dean got hurt in the playoffs. So Carson Wentz didn't matter for the Super Bowl?
Why is Nakobe Dean not here then?
Because he got a big-ass contract.
So the Eagles didn't want to match it.
Yeah, exactly my point. You can't pay everybody. The contracts are too big.
Who have you paid so far?
If everybody you draft,
who have you paid? Your number one priority. Wait a minute. Your number one priority was to draft Jalen Phillips at $30 million. That failed. You still don't have money to sign a guy to $12 million?
If everybody you draft in the first, second, or third round plays good enough to get a second contract, you'll never be able to afford them all.
You never sign guys to second contracts.
What do you mean? There's plenty of guys.
Okay, where?
Jordan Davis just got a mega deal.
Okay. In the last five
Jalen Hurts, second contract. Devontae Smith, second contract. Landon Dickerson, second contract. Cam Jurgens, second contract.
Name me on defense one player that you drafted outside of Jordan Davis in the last 5 years, 6 years even, that you've given a second contract to that's been a player on your team.
Well, Josh Sweat just departed. He was on a second contract.
Okay, Josh Sweat.
Brandon Graham just hung him up. He was on like a 4th contract.
I said in the last 5-6 years you drafted.
Yeah, it's not many. I mean, look, it's been the great purge on defense. Me and you have talked about this extensively. They paid so much on offense that they've let guys walk out of here like crazy. So
you didn't draft Zach Bond.
Yeah, didn't draft Bond. That doesn't fit. But no, I mean, look, I think you're going to have a bunch. I mean, in 2 years when we have this conversation, you tell me, will Carter have a second deal? Will Quinion have a second deal? Will Cooper have a second deal? Will Jalix Hunt be on a second contract? I think that's going to change a little bit here with the build of the team.
That's right, because you know why? You got to get out from under those bad deals you now have on offense. You agree those contracts, many of them over on offense now, are bad deals, right?
Now they're bad deals on the other side.
Well, do you think they're good deals or bad? You think the Barkley deal's a good deal?
No, I don't. That's one I don't think it's a good deal.
You think
the AJ deal was a good deal? I think the Devontae deal was a good deal. I think the Jalen Hurts deal was a good deal. I think the Landon and Cam deals were good deals. Maybe not aging well. I think the Mailata deal is a good deal. I think the Lane Johnson deal is a good deal. I think the Goddard deal has been a good deal.
Dude, I'll tell you this. The Cam Jurgens deal is like spoiled titty milk.
Dude, they got 2 NFC titles on the mantle with a Super Bowl ring.
It's like spoiled titty milk.
Oh, bullshit, dude. What a crock of shit. I mean, how much more success do they have? These are all good contracts based on the success that the team has had.
All right, let me go on here. 23. Jaylen Carter. How about Nolan Smith? What do you make of that pick? Hey, by the way, let me ask you this one then, Mr. Draft Guy, Mr. Hey, if it doesn't matter, if he doesn't get here,
we're like strippers on the pole today. He's talking us $10 for a segment.
If Nolan Smith doesn't get to a second contract, is that a bad? What is that?
That's a bad pick. That's a
bad pick.
First round.
Do you think he does?
No, I don't.
You think here in?
I think the Eagles have already shown you that he hasn't, right?
I think so. So that means you're not picking up the 5th year then, right?
They were in the Trey Hendrickson talks. They were in the Jalen Phillips talks. They were in the Max Crosby talks. Right now, Howie's talked about we need edge. I mean, they've told us basically already that he's not panned out. I don't think he gets to his. I think Jalix Hunt has a significantly better opportunity to get a second contract in Philly than Nolan Smith does.
May 15th, are they picking that?
I do $18
million up, $15 million. I think it's 15.
It's like 14, dude. So it's
14?
like think about that. Like that's pretty sick value for an edge rusher. So I think they picked that up, but I don't think he gets a deal after that.
Okay, so let me go back to the Nakobe thing with that then. So you're going to pick Nolan Smith's 14 up, but you wouldn't pay Dean 15 if he was such an integral part of your defense?
Oh, edge rusher linebacker.
Yeah, but that guy was the guy you were telling me was the that's Mr. Green Dot.
Wait. This comp is so bad I'm not even letting you continue.
What comp?
What do you mean? They got Zach Bond and Jahad Campbell under contract. These are awful comps.
Wait, Jahad Campbell got benched for Nakobe.
Yeah, he did. Because Nakobe's a good player and not a bad pick.
And that's why you let him walk, because he's a good player.
Because they drafted Jahad Campbell with the 1 and they need to stay cheap because they're paying everybody else. This is a crock of shit.
Hey,
I don't even think you subscribe to this. I think you're in Fairy Tale Friday.
I just don't understand.
I'm calling them the Fairy Tale Fridays.
Wait a second. You let let's see how many good players you let walk out. You let walk out Jalen Phillips. You let walk out Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, now Nakobe Dean. Pretty soon you're going to be putting a Pro Bowl team together of guys who let walk out the door.
Yeah, that I agree with. Shout out to Howie, such a great drafter, man. You can literally make a Pro Bowl team with the guys who didn't even earn a second deal in Philly. Woo!
What changed it with the guy? Because seriously, for after the 2020, actually, if you go like this from 2018, actually. You could take that 19 and 20 out because Hurts covered the 20. You could go from 18, Zander, all the way to 24. 25, I'm not going to go into it yet because there's not enough sample size on that draft yet. 24, I went A. 23, I went A. 22, I went A. 21, I went A. 20, I went D plus. 19, I went D plus. 18, I went A. But Hurts covers that 20. This guy's been drafting at an A clip since 18, really. What's been the difference? From the first years where he was D, 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 C plus, D.
Well, you ever seen that? I guess you wouldn't be able to relate to this meme, but maybe our listeners will. You ever seen that meme when you're playing video games and there's the meme where you're sitting back and you're playing the controller and then they call it the lock in, where you lock in like this and you lock it on the TV. That's like how he locked in. He locked in. He woke up and smelled the roses. He learned from his mistakes as a great general manager or professional in any career would do. And now he's delivering the goods in the draft, baby.
Why does your voice raise like that? I just
It's called inflection. I want to be entertaining.
I got it. Okay,
You want me to give you the John McMullen monotonous tone? Is that
no.
I'll give you the J-Mac.
No, I don't want the J. I know I'm good. He's all good. We're good, boys. Let's see here. Let me talk to you about tight end according to Bledsoe and how they
taking personal shots now because I'm taking you to the woodshed?
You're not taking nothing to the woodshed. Nakobe's a Raider, guy.
You see that face?
Nakobe's a Raider. Whatever you say, he ain't here.
That blank face. Oh, my goodness.
He ain't here.
Your face went blank there.
Bro.
Like a piece of loose leaf.
Because you think you're right that a guy you took in the third round is no longer part of your football team, was the captain of your defense a year ago, is not here, and you think that's a good pick. Okay, you and I
woodshed season.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll find out again how this bad puppy works out because you'll be looking for a quarterback by the end of 26.
What does that have to do with the drafting?
Because your coach won't be able to do anything with these picks. Here, let me go with tight end here when it comes to how Bledsoe looks at your draft picks here. You ready? Tight end. Even though the Eagles brought back Dallas Goedert in 26, there's still a short-term need at the position. For it's time the Eagles to find Goddard's replacement. It just seems relatively unlikely it's going to come in the first round. Do you believe that? That they're not going to take a tight end in the first round, Sadiq?
I think they could. We did that. We got to look at Keese, by the way. He tossed these we're like strippers up here, bro. He's tossing $10 bills and it's telling us what to do in the shows. I mean, it's unbelievable. Keese, I got news for you. Why don't you sit down, get your little cup of tea for your Friday night or whatever it is, get in your leather recliner chair, click it back and listen up, Keese. All right? And shut up, by the way. This guy gives me shit on the morning shows. Now he's come over and he's giving me shit in the afternoon shows. I mean, holy shit, Keith. But
how about this? Can I give you this scenario? What if Sadiq is still on the board and the Eagles move down from 23 to 28 and take him?
Maybe. Well, here's my thing that I brought. The reason I brought up Keese is because this morning on Zander Time we were doing the you can do like the simulators. So I was picking, and the only guy, we did two of them. The only guy that was really there that was super enticing in round one, Vega was there in the second time we did it, so I took Vega. But Kenyon Sadiq was there both times.
Who said that about 3 weeks ago?
Dude, you're not gonna accept.
Didn't Big Sil say that I picked?
Oh my God, this guy's picking flowers and the draft is 2 weeks away.
I didn't say that. Did I not say that?
What are you taking flowers for right now?
I said that you're going to take Sadiq in the first round.
They didn't take him yet.
Thank you, doctor. I know it's 13 days away.
Why are you taking flowers then, florist?
Because my simulator is saying Big Sills has got a computer mind working.
Yeah. Your mind is like AI when it comes to the draft.
Love AI. All right. Let's go to safety, dude. Safety position.
This can't be good.
Safety position seems unfinished now. Eagles are bringing back Drew Makuba for his second season. Reed Blankenship leads for free agency, so their other starting spot now is held by Marcus Epps and Michael Carter II. Will that be good enough? Unsure.
Michael Carter II. Oh, you don't like Michael Carter?
Wait, Makuba and Michael Carter. How do you feeling about your safety position?
They got a nickname for him. Apparently, it's Scuba.
Why? Because he's always underwater?
I don't know. I saw someone call him that. Somebody called him that this morning, and I thought it was catchy.
Scuba. Or
you want to see who?
Or he's running out of hair.
You want me to show you who I think they're drafting at safety? Let me see if I can pull this sucker up.
Come on, man. Makuba and Michael Carter II. You go from Buckin, Gardner Johnson, and Reed Blankenship to Makuba and to Michael Carter II.
Dude, you're acting like you used to shred Reed Blankenship.
Yeah, because he was good next to CJ. I told you he'd be dog shit next to whoever they put next to him, and he was.
CJ's trying to get back in the good graces of the Birds. He's vouching.
I see that, throwing a lot of flowers out, doing a lot of phony shit. I don't think they're buying it, though. I don't think they're buying any of that bullshit of his.
Nah, they're not bringing back him.
All right, let's go.
I'd be in favor, though.
I'd
be in favor. I've already chugged my seltzer today because you're driving me up a wall. My lemon seltzer, it's gone. I got no drink here on the show. I'm fucking looking for a drink.
This guy drinks like these specialized Cokes.
It's a seltzer water. It's seltzer water.
Jesus Christ.
It's sparkling seltzer water.
What do you got in there? Lime?
No, it's the flavor is lemon.
Jesus Christ. What are you eating? Cheese too? I mean,
oh my God. Now I can't even drink a seltzer water.
No, you can do whatever you want, kid. I don't know. Hey, here's your edge right now.
Drink your Coke and shut up.
I'm out.
Yeah, you're out. You're sad too, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm pissed off.
Yeah,
I drank the shit before I.
My lemon seltzer's gone, and you're
his white wine spritzer's gone, and my Coke's gone. Shit.
Yeah, you're so badass. So
I'm an old man.
Macho Sills. I got the Coke.
According to him, I'm an old man now. What the fuck? Here we go. Edge rusher now. While it was probably wise for the Eagles to let Jalen Phillips walk, do you think it was wise?
To let who walk? Jalen Phillips?
Yeah.
Yeah, $30 million for that guy. Come on. I know you got your Miami blinders on, but
no.
Admit it. Your Miami blinders are on. That guy ain't worth. I'll tell you this: if that guy wasn't a Miami player and the Eagles paid him $30 million, he'd be your number one offseason topic. You'd be taking them to the cleaners on that.
Here's where I'm gonna disagree with you. Okay, now let me ask you this then. Okay, what was the number one priority for the Eagles this offseason?
What'd they call it? Maintenance or something?
I thought it was to sign Jalen Phillips. No. Huh.
What kind of a goal for an offseason is that? Sign one player. That's called bad GMing.
Okay, well, wait a minute. Who've they signed since? Missing on him.
You don't like Arnold Ebiketie?
Who the fuck is that? Oh my God!
You don't like Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt?
That's not who they signed. Nolan Ebiketie.
I wouldn't even feel that good if they had Phillips. I'd be like, you're probably going to get hurt.
My God! Last year, you guys loved him. Now, when he went to the Carolina Panthers,
I didn't love him. In fact, I was calling him out. Guy played like 6 games. Guy had a cup of tea in Philly. I got no feeling for Jalen Phillips. Onward, on to the next one.
Okay, so here, hook me up then.
Averages 12 games a season. What do you make of that?
Okay, so if you don't,
yeah, that's right.
No. 12 games. You guys you went after him. You were going to pay him. You were going to pay him.
We're going to pay him like 24, probably 23.
24. It was 27.5.
No, it wasn't. The Eagles didn't go that high.
They wouldn't.
I heard they went to 22.5 and we're done after that.
22. Hi. So wait, they offered him $3 million over Josh Sweat.
22.5. That's what the value of the player. In fact, I thought they were spot on. I thought that was a good payday for Jalen
So
Phillips, who's been pretty,
years,
mediocre.
This man right here has been telling you they can't sign everybody. So they've let Milton go, who signed for 26. They let Sweat go, signed for 19.5. They let Phillips go and signed for $30 million PPV. Okay. And now you've given a 2-down DT 26.5. And then he turned around now. Oh, by the way, when's that Jaylen Carter contract coming?
I don't know. Next summer.
Wow.
Look at him drop the pen. Man, you have a great ability to embellish.
Hey, wait. Wait a second here. Hold on. Let me get an aspirin here. Hang on for a second, folks.
Oh gosh.
Hold on. So now you're telling me the contract's not coming?
I didn't say that. I said next summer.
Next summer. What if he shits the bed again?
He's gone.
Ow!
What are you gonna say? He was a bad pick too?
If you don't sign a 1,
he's a 2-time All-Pro.
Okay. If you don't sign a 2-time All-Pro who was taken 9th, and you let that dude roll out. By the way, his name gets brought up a ton in trade talks. Dude, boy, you dangle that guy out like he is a carrot.
You need an oil change. Context is too big.
Here it is right here. Hey, you want
anybody who's ever used AI, if you talk to AI for too long, it's called a context window, and it gets real big. And the AI starts getting real stupid when you talk to it for too long. Sills' context window is a little inflated. He needs an oil change.
You want Jaylen Carter? You give me anybody. I tell you what, you can roll this in with that guy's shitty shoulders and all. And we'll roll that bitch in, man. I'm not paying that guy with 2 lame-ass shoulders, 32 large.
No, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I'm not giving him 32 large with bum shoulders.
Big year for him.
Go and earn it.
Big year for him, right?
Massive year for him. He plays
bigger year for him or Hurts?
Ooh,
or equal?
Bigger year for Hurts because Hurts is the quarterback. Big year for Carter, though. I mean, he plays good. He'll get 38. He doesn't play good. He'll be on a new team.
If he plays like he did in 24, you paying him 38?
I think the Eagles will. Maybe not. I mean, it depends what the market's at. But right now, it's still at 31. Like, I think we got a little.
Chris Jones, 31 too.
I think we got a little ahead of ourselves with the 40 talk. But
because we saw the edge rushers, what they were making.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think 35. So I'd do it now for 32, but I don't think they will.
Do you agree that your defense can have a facial like remake if Nolan Smith doesn't play well, Alex Hunt doesn't grow, if your big boy Jordan Davis doesn't turn into a 3-down guy, and Carter turns into a marshmallow?
I was having a good Friday. It's nice outside. It's like 65 and sunny.
About time.
And now you're
okay.
You're taking me to the fucking woodshed.
I got no. There's no woodshed here in the Big Sills with me and you. You take John McMullen to the woodshed every day, but it's okay. I love it.
No, that's not true.
It is. I don't want to talk about that guy.
I disagree with him on Rossini. That's all.
Me too. Yeah, but the one thing I will say with you on that Rossini talk, you're letting your personal views of character kind of blind you in her job that she's not. Her work is not. No, you don't like her now because of a lack of character. I understand that. It does.
John said the thing this morning. He's like, "Yeah, I don't like people who stand on the high horse." And I got that comment too. Oh, Zander, what is he, Mr. Never Sinner?
I don't think you're standing there.
I'm like, first off, one, I never said that, and two, you have to have character. You have to have something that you stand for. If you don't stand for anything, then you fall for anything. So I don't agree with people who are like, well, I can't criticize anybody when it goes against, because I don't want to, come from a pedestal. Well, bullshit. It challenged my thought process. It challenged, I didn't appreciate it from what my standard of living is, and I criticized it. And I'm a talk show host.
I can't wait to hear what Mike
standing on a pedestal. So be it. It is what it is.
I can't wait to hear what Mike North says about Diana Russini and this whole thing.
I can't wait either.
I can't
wait.
They're
going to take him to the cleaners, or he's going to give him a hall pass like you have.
Dude, I'm not giving her a hall pass. If she wants to be a low life person and get
you're right about that.
That's not on me, man. That's for the New York Times to deal with.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, that's a New York Times. Let's get to these before Mike North beats the shit out of me here.
Here's my Walk L. What up, Walk L? Bill checks in. Can't wait for your draft coverage. I think 2026 could be Hurts' final year in Philly. Awesome hat, Z, from Bill. Bill, thank you, brother. That got the amen corner lid on.
Did you hear?
My brother got the invite to the Masters last year. I'm not that guy.
Let me tell you this. You ready for this one? Augusta National is going to make $175 million in selling shirts and hats.
Oh, yeah.
This week. That's not counting online.
Wait, but the stuff's not crazy price. That's one of their things, too.
Dude,
like the sandwiches are like
$1.50 for.
Yeah, it's incredible. Now the hat, the hat's regular. It was like $30 or whatever it was. But
that's normal.
My brother picked me up the lid. I love it. I haven't worn it since last year, though, with Masters. Since
Stoke.
Here is NJ. Number one priority for Eagles offseason was to piss off Big Sills. If that
piss me off, it's easy right now watching all
the Sills. You ever pull a Diana and do favors for a story?
No, but I had to paint a fence to get my grade so I could play in the Fiesta Bowl.
I just took the F. Leon says, is the Hall of Fame committee corrupt? I say yes.
I don't think it is. I think the system's flawed.
All right, that's all of them. Look at that. We're up and down before.
No. I want to make it clear with you about. Listen, Rossini and all that. I think it. Look, Joy Taylor.
It is what it is, dude. I'm over it. But
Joy Taylor, what is Joy Taylor, Rachel Nichols? Where are they today?
Yeah, I look. Even if we bring it back to the Eagles, though, I mean, where I disagree, like people think it has no ability to change the valuation of AJ, and my opinion on that is drastically different. I mean, somebody said, "Well, Howie doesn't have to, listen. She can't kill the value of AJ," and I'm like, so you're telling me the head coach of the team who wants to trade for the player, if they're pillow talking, he can't say to Diana Russini, AJ's got a bum knee. Go and put that out there. Go put out there that he has a bum knee, so the Rams scatter, so all these other teams scatter, and then Howie's backed into a corner and has to take our second round draft pick for the player. I mean, and I'm not even saying that's what happened. I'm insinuating that when you have a can of worms that they have opened, many people are going to make assumptions about certain things, and all of them are fair. And that was brought on by none other than those two themselves. So it is what it is.
Okay, last thing here before we get to Mike. So and Mike knows this, there's a text chain, Zander, that's out there, a group text. It's got Jay Glazer on it. It's got Ian Rappaport. It's got Adam Silver. It's got Adam Schefter. It's got Diana Russini. It's got Daniel Jeremiah on it. And it's got Armando Salguero on it. This is what the agents send those deals, 4 years, $180 million. That's why those guys are on top of that. They're not doing their jobs anymore. It's not journalism. That's information being given to them.
Right.
That's why when you got a person like Diana Russini, to your point, that's on that general managers and agents like Jimmy Sexton, they trust her. So when she's all of a sudden, you're seeing her in Arizona with the head coach of the Patriots, that is going to raise.
You know what I thought was interesting too? Emmanuel Acho brought this up. Like, who put that investigator out there?
No, I also tweeted this out. How do you know the Bills didn't do this?
I know. That's what I'm saying. Who knows?
How do you know the Bears didn't do this? I mean,
That's
like
what
if you're the New England Patriots who have been known for doing shady things,
dude, that was a PI. That was a private investigator. That was
that's a private investigator.
that was a
paparazzi
picture
guy.
that a common civilian is not taking that
No.
photo.
And by the way, that means you had to stalk these two.
I know. Chase him out there 2 hours
Chase
away
them
from
out
the
there
owners.
2 hours away from the owners' meetings.
She made her
can't
bed.
wait.
She can lay in it. All right, my friend. Good
All right,
show.
dude. I will see you Monday, brother.
Later, dude.
Great
Thank
hat.
you.
Gotcha, bro. That is my friend, Big Z. I can't wait to talk to Mike North about this. We're going to talk some Masters as well and get his thoughts on this whole story here and how it impacts A.J. Brown trade, how it impacts the NFL, and straight up journalism here. Without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend from Chicago to Windy City, one of my favorite cities on the planet. He is Mike North. He joins us now here on the program. Howie, you look. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
He comes in with a
We're doing the I'm the stunt double for the Jerry Faust story. No, this is a hat. I coached at Notre Dame and Niles in the Illinois area and for 6 years, and we had great basketball teams. Well, the assistant coaches were second to none, but I like the hat, and I really have today. It's sort of like I'm caught up in a hurricane, like I suffered whiplash, and my head snapped back, but my hair stayed where it was at. So, I've revealed myself, but that's okay, pal.
I love the hat. I love the hat. I got to tell you, listen.
The Dons. We are the Dons, Spanish gentlemen.
Now, wait a minute. Let me ask you this. So it's the Catholic League in Chicago.
That's what the East Suburban Catholic League we're in.
Okay, how good is that? Because my Catholic League that I played in was really great.
Oh, yeah. No, the Chicago Catholic League, especially 60s, 70s, 80s, was still very tough. Very tough. But back then, Mendel Catholic, St. Rita, Leo, I could just name them off, and they'd want to play in the Prep Bowl, which was at Soldier Field back in the day. And the Public League would send their representative first to Catholic League, and more often than not, the Catholic League would win. But every so often, there'd be some Public League teams that would end up winning. Some great players.
Didn't play at Joliet Catholic?
Yeah, and the Bears passed on him. They took Walt. I think his name was Walt Harris. Defensive back, not a bad ball player, but Mike Allstott. I mean, he was right in our backyard, and we passed on him. And then, we took him. And Allstott dropped after the Bears didn't take him, and then Tampa Bay got him, and they got a Hall of Fame type running back, in my opinion.
Yep, absolutely.
How the hell are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, man, and I couldn't wait to talk to you about this.
Yeah.
Give me your takeaway on this whole Diana Russini and Mike Vrabel story.
Well, first of all, I want to wish my lovely wife, BB, a happy 72nd birthday. Right. And really, I mean, they said everything is perfect for you. Nothing should go wrong. And then she met me at a grocery store, and we're like John Garfield and Lana Turner, the car hitting the fence you know what I mean? The postman only drinks twice. Hey, if she wanted a challenge, she got one. Here's what I'll say. I've been on the front page, the back page, the middle page. There's some that would like to see me in the obituary page in capital letters. So I get it all. My judgments, a lot of them at the beginning of my career, especially, you're making $40,000 one day, and the next day you're making $1.5 million. Things get a little bit out of whack. Things get crazy. But I always had support at home. And I did make some mistakes in my life. And you know what? Diana Russini made a big one. Now, mine, for the most part, were due to booze. This is a lack of judgment from these two people. And for whatever reason, I have no idea about her private life, but I know that she was in the culture of football. And it's almost like she's feminine, but she talks like one of the guys. You know what I mean? So she wanted to mess, hey, you know what? I partied the last night I partied in Miami. She goes, and her voice actually lowers. She goes, I'll tell you what, it was the last day on earth for me, huh? So she's locked up in the culture. and but the pictures don't look good. It's sure her credibility shot. People, whatever happens is going to be whatever room she goes into from now on, whatever locker room she goes into. And this happens to anybody that gets in any kind of trouble in the media. You may eventually come back and you may think people forget certain things that you did, but people that were jealous of you, envious of you, okay? And there's plenty of them in the media, worse than any other work of life. And I've been in plenty of them, Dan.
Absolutely.
They want you to fall and everything else. They'll act contrite in front of you. You know how the whole thing is played. So she'll never be the same. And the way she talked about her husband, I mean, at my worst time, me crawling up the stairs, hammered, coming home at 3 a.m, my wife never thought I was just average. And she would have never said something like that. And she hangs her husband out to dry, but if it's up to them, how this is going to be handled. Somebody ratted on him. No doubt about it. You don't go, let's take a drive,
To Arizona.
And it's a couples thing. I just think the whole thing was like, wow. It's almost like we won't get caught, but we will get caught. One of those deals. And,
like
and
I looked at
it's career suicide in a way. Vrabel seems to be, no big deal about it. But when you're married and you go to a couples only place in the middle of nowhere, it's going to always lead to speculation. And they haven't really addressed it all that well. So I don't think they know what to do.
Okay, let me ask you the NFL side of this now and how the NFL should go forward here. So let's just say, Diana Russini has been front and center on the A.J. Brown trade.
Yeah.
All the conversations and everything. Let's hypothetically say there's pillow talk going on.
Yeah.
She contacts, and all of a sudden there was a report, which, by the way, Les Snead, the general manager of the Rams, came out and verified there was talks on a trade to send A.J. Brown to the Los Angeles Rams. Diana Russini, I'm assuming, let me say this because she's plugged in everywhere. She calls up Les Snead and says, hey, I hear you guys are in the pursuit of A.J. Brown. And you're like, yeah, she's starting to write a story. She goes, the Patriots are making a play for him as well. But one of the reasons kind of they're not giving a one-up for him is because they heard of a knee injury. And all of a sudden the Rams hear that and go, what do you mean knee injury? Because now what was coming out that the front office with the Rams kind of budged and paused a little bit, pressed the pause button because they wanted to see maybe a medical on the guy, maybe after June 1. So they hit pause. How is that not tampering, Mike? If he's sending information to Diana Russini to send a narrative out that's lowering the asking price and potential suitors for the guy. Don't you think the Patriots, some type of investigation, especially if Mike Vrabel, that'd be tough to prove. But my point would be, how do you know Mike Vrabel's not feeding her information?
You don't know that. You don't know that. That's the whole problem with this thing. You don't know how she's getting the information. But it looks awfully different than the way that traditionally people would get their information from a head coach of a football team than to meet him 100 miles out of town. You remember Casino, the movie?
Yes.
All right. Remember remember Pesci met De Niro in the rundown shack like 100 miles outside of Vegas because he was well, that's where they met in a real nice looking place, but they met where there was nothing going on. And I just don't see how it's not going away right now because there has not been any kind of explanation. And I don't care if there's an explanation or not, but there are people out there that do. But are her contacts is the NFL going to try to squash this? Is she giving them an answer? Are they asking questions about Vrabel and about the situation there? There has been AJ rumors abound with her involved for a while. So it's what I talked about earlier. Her credibility is to the point where I don't know if I want to talk to her, or if I talk to her, Will something else come out? Stuff like that with her. So it's too bad. It's too bad. I guess she worked hard, but I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, it's brutal. And
Mike,
if the media doesn't get a decent, have you gotten a decent answer out of them?
No. I haven't.
Do you think they deserve a decent answer?
Yeah, I do.
I think they have to give you some sort of answer. They're both in marriages. They're both, in high profile positions. One's the head coach of the New England Patriots. The other one is the head writer or whatever you have it, media NFL
For
insider,
New York Times.
Of the New York Times.
Athletic.
I don't know how much she knows about football. She seems to break football stories, though, pretty good. She's a good reporter, but this is a bad mark for her, big time.
How about this, Mike? ESPN right now is reporting that the Green Bay Packers are trading wide receiver the Dontayvion Wicks to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for a 2026 fifth-round pick and a 2027 sixth-round pick. Wicks will sign a one-year, $12.5 million extension with the Eagles, per his agent, David Magalta. Is this the end of A.J. Brown? This is the second wide receiver that they've brought in now. And they brought in Hollywood Brown, and now they've just signed a wide receiver for 12 point. I mean, that's a significant number. That's not just a dude where you're traveling in.
So is AJ, you're asking me if right now, where are the percentages on AJ Brown coming back? Is that what you're asking me? Yes. Not good. They talked about that during the offseason. Sirianni broke the news. Well, we signed, but we don't know if he's coming back. Wow. How would you like to be signed for all this money in a corporation? And the boss goes, well, he's making a lot of money, but we don't know if we'll see him next year. Take care now. Bye-bye. And you're going, wow. So I've always thought he was a bad guy. I've never been an A.J. Brown fan from the beginning, being on this wonderful program. And I know that he was a part of what happened in a negative way to the Eagles last year. And I know it was not only mentally, but when he dropped the footballs, when he opened his mouth and came. See, if you open your mouth like Muhammad Ali used to, not all the time, but for the most part, you got to back it up. And A.J. Brown didn't back up his talk when the times came, at the crunch time. So they're anxious to get rid of him. They're sending messages. They don't know him any explanation. He's under contract. He may come back. Maybe this is to push him. Maybe this is to protect the team, insurance. So I don't think there's anything wrong with what they did. But if I'm A.J. Brown, I'm going out. There might be 1 foot out the door. Okay.
Boy, I'll tell you right now, when you get in the fact that you signed Elijah Moore as well, and you turned around and now you signed this kid from Green Bay and you gave $12.5 million, you're just not signing a guy. So again, and you have Hollywood Brown, and you have Devontae.
They want him out.
You want him out.
The mistake they made is I would have gotten rid of him halfway through the season.
You know what, Mike? I asked people this question yesterday. Are they preparing life without AJ? And this is preparing life without AJ.
I think they were preparing life after he went off at the Super Bowl. They said that's enough of this. When he went off on the sidelines on Sirianni, that was the final straw. Made the team look bad, disorganized. Whenever there's any kind of eruption like that, made him look petty. Not the Super Bowl, in the playoffs. And that was the end of that for Philadelphia. I think ownership, and I'm not going to question the GM. I think A.J. Brown, had he kept his mouth shut instead of reading books on the sideline, acting different than his teammates, acting indifferent at times towards the coaching staff, he'd be on the team next year. They wouldn't be doing this. But they want a football team that's fundamentally sound, that's not going to blame the quarterback for everything. Apparently, the wide receiver had something to do with a lot of the problems last year, since they're anxious to get him going.
And how about this too, Mike? I mean, all this stuff with Rossini and with Mike Vrabel, this is all conjured up because of A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
I mean, when do you stop the noise, right? If you're the Eagles. And it looks like to me now, with all these moves that they're making now, they're preparing and they're pushing his ass out here.
There's no move like moves that I had a coach tell me one time. He goes, Mike, you're a hell of a ball player. We got a hell of a team. And we need a couple different people. And I asked him, I go, well, how do you get rid of people? He goes, no, you bring other people in. Then they get rid of themselves. That's the deal that's A.J. Brown. They're bringing other people in. The writing's on the wall. I think that I don't know how Eagle fans would be as an outsider who's been following because of the show Philadelphia Eagle football, which I enjoy following, and Hurts. I've been a big fan. I think the rest of the team will have no problem with A.J. Brown being gone.
I think they want to make Devontae now the number one, and this is.
I wouldn't have a problem with that. I doubted him coming out of school, and then the guy made me look like a fool. He's a little guy, and he just gets it done. Comes to play, keeps his mouth shut. You know.
What do you make of the Masters?
Love it.
Rory McIlroy killing it right now.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. What's he at right now? -7 or something like that?
I think so.
Yeah.
I actually, I think maybe there's been a change at the top here a little bit.
Yeah, I think that
Patrick Reed and Rory are tied right now, 6 under.
6 under. So Rory's had a couple of bogeys. It's wide open. I took I took the kid. What's the hell's his name? Well, I bet 2 to win. Justin Rose, he looks pretty good right now.
He's 5 right now. He's
shot at 60, shot at 69. And Aberg, I took Aberg at a plus 1100. He's +1 right now, but they're all still in it. There's nobody really standing up. It's not like you're watching the La Jolla Open where you're -20 and in 5th place, for God's sake, which I can't stand. You have a competitive course, and it looks so innocent when you watch it on TV and beautiful. It's like perfect. It's like the beautiful girl that you meet at a restaurant. Everything goes well. You go home, and the next minute you're ducking a glass. You don't know what happened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to tell you is,
Mike, what makes that tournament so great in American sports?
Well, first of all, I'd like them to cover it better. All right.
Yeah.
First of all, I don't like this nonsense. Okay. ESPN, you bought the rights. Okay. Love them all over there. God bless you. Okay. But my deal isn't, if you're going to buy the rights, I don't want to see your hosts go to the snack shop to tell everybody how cheap everything is. Show the golf. Okay. I don't give a damn. Okay. I'm sitting there. I'm a shut-in. I'm sitting there. I got to wait yesterday till 2:30 for the Masters. Are you kidding me? It's like showing the Super Bowl at halftime. Hey, it's 10-0. And welcome, everybody. You missed the first half because we decided to put it on an app. Put the first quarter on one app, because they have AM Corner, Amen Corner. I went to Amen Corner so many times yesterday on the app, I thought it was going to be a priest. Enough. Okay? Crazy. I want the man. How do you have the Golf Channel? I met Rich Lerner in 95. He came to the station. It was a brand new concept he was going to work with Arnold Palmer back then.
Arnold Palmer founded the Golf Channel.
Yeah, the Golf Channel. I go, great. I see less golf now. I got to watch the Corn Ferry Tour, the LPGA, the Teamsters. I don't even know what the hell they're throwing at me. I want golf. The Masters should be on from 1 to 18, period. And I shouldn't have to go to masters.com for it. Because you have the LPGA, I think, no, not the PGA or the US Open, one of the two. Show it on the whole tournament.
Yeah.
1 to 18 without
I
going.
think that's USGA. The USGA, I think that's on that.
The Masters, I know you guys run your own show, and I loved what you did to Martha Burke. She ended up in the parking lot going, we're gonna take your commercials. We're gonna boycott your commercials. And you guys said, we don't need commercials. That's how much money you make. You make $170 million. I heard my buddy Dan bring it up about the money just from merchandising.
$150 million.
Right. You can't put the whole Masters on television.
$150 million.
You can't put the whole Masters on television.
Wait,
it's like Game 7 of the World Series will not be on until the 5th inning. What are you doing?
$150 million, and that's not
I
even
know, I
counting
told you
online.
That. You got me hot now. Look at the
That's
hair.
not even counting online. I mean, hey, I don't know where it's going to go here. All right, finally here.
Don't I look like a crazy urban killer?
All right, Mike. Mike,
Yeah.
Chicago Bears draft. Anything for us here? Do you think?
Yeah, well, we don't. Everybody's bandying about different stuff and talking about different people. It's still early. Look, if I'm the Bears, I got to go line, whatever. I don't care who it is. Okay, you need a defensive lineman. Okay, the offense seems to be pretty well set right now, but I still would work on the defense. I'm hoping they take a linebacker early. I hope they take a defensive lineman early. Then they can do whatever they want. Nothing's for sure as we talk in the National Football League. So just keep improving your team. I saw where there was a poll taken where Ben Johnson, and this is, I think, dealing with the McVay tree, was just ranked by this magazine 13th best NFL coach. Okay. And I know there's a lot of hatred between the Green Bay coach, McVay. They pretend now they like Ben Johnson, but they don't, the McVay tree. So they have some influence. But I've been telling you, there's no way he's 13th. He's higher, Ben Johnson. He took a dog crap team last year. I'm sorry. You want to rank him maybe 10th, maybe 11th. You're not getting away with that crap. He should have been getting more votes for I've been a Bear fan since 1961. I've seen dog crap teams. This team the year before was dog crap, had no belief in themselves, didn't have an idea. Their quarterback couldn't play. And this guy comes in 1 year. They asked him the other day about, are you ready? Hey, great year last year. He goes, what are you talking about? We haven't done anything yet. That's a Bear. That's the kind of coaching we've been waiting to hear, which we weren't hearing for a long time. So I was amused that a guy that I believed in, but I didn't think was worth $13 million, who proved me wrong. Now I'm a staunch supporter. Believe me, I've been watching every coach since George Halas with the Bears, and there's been plenty, from Pardee to Abe Gibran. I can go all night long, like Lionel Richie. This guy's better than he's a top 10 head football coach.
I love it, Mike. You and your loved one, make sure you have yourself a great day and a great weekend. You look great, dude. I mean, you're looking ready like a true serial killer.
Oh yeah. There's no
John Wayne Gacy has nothing on you, bro.
Put an X in my hand. Put an X in my hand. I start blinking a little bit. I'm in.
Mike, I appreciate you and love you, bro.
Love you. I'll see you next week and say hi to Zander. Everybody, you guys are the best.
You bet. Thank you so much. Appreciate that very much. That is my friend, Mike North, man. Love watching him. Love talking with him. That will be next week. He is here with us each and every single week. Guys, I appreciate you. Hit that like button. All right. How many people in here now want to apologize for Big Sills and to Big Sills when I said 1,000% at the beginning of this program that A.J. Brown was officially gone? You could send it in now. There's an application, by the way, over on my X account for apologies. Reyes, we'll start with you. Okay? Get this. So wait a minute. They get Elijah Moore. They get Hollywood Brown. They get this kid Wicks and pay him $12 million. They've got Devontae Smith. But this asshat still thinks that they're keeping AJ. Okay? Apologize. You're right. Get this. Look at here. Watch the stupidity roll out even more. We need a wide receiver 3 battle. For what? The 25 catches a year that I pointed out the last 4 years to you guys? So this guy says there needs to be a battle for wide receiver 3 over 25 catches a year. Is that right? Emre has said they brought these receivers in for a battle for wide receiver 3 for a total of 25 catches. Is that right, Emre? We're going to battle for 25 catches. Is that right? That's all they've been averaging. Get this. Thanks for proving my point. We have non-impact wide receivers and seek to better the position. That guy is so blinded. My God. The quarterback will never find a third hole because he can't throw to the third wideout. He hasn't for 5 years. And now all of a sudden, they're going to make the third wide receiver position by paying him $12 million. Folks, they're paying that guy $12 million. Do you understand that Devontae makes only $10 million more than this guy? He's going to be your number 2. I apologize to Big Sills for not being wrong. Silly Eagle fan, tricks are for kids. Wicks is useless. Hurts can't pass the third stringers. Hold on. How do you know he's going to be in the third hole? You didn't give that guy $12 million. That's not a $1.5 million sign. A.J. Brown is out. He is gone. This is a signed, sealed, and delivered deal. As I told you before, get it. That's right. It's better than what Dotson signed for even. You're making it seem like this guy was not brought in. You think a team offered what he wanted for AJ? I think the Patriots have offered exactly what, unless something's changed and it's gone to a 1, I still think it's a 2 and 3. Yeah, right. When was the last time we battled for number 3? Whatever. AJ's gone. This guy's better than Dotson for $12 million. Correct. Correct. At this point, who cares about AJ? I'm a diehard Eagle fan. At this point, we have to pick a different topic. Anything the Eagles do, you hate on. I don't hate on this. I'm not hating on this. I don't think this is a bad move. Okay? I would not do business with the Patriots. Effing scumbags. Why? 0 chance AJ gets traded to the Patriots. Howie won't take the public hit. What public hit? What public hit? This clown cries about not enough wide receiver depth. I never said this was a bad deal. You're making this up. This clown cries about not having enough wide receiver depth all year. Correct, I did. We added depth, and he cries still. This guy's a clown. Wait a minute. It's not that you didn't add guys. The point is you added a guy at 12-5. So you got Darius Coop. Wait, you really think with all the noise of A.J. Brown being dealt that this is not about A.J. Brown? What an absolute blinded, unbelievable, glazed donut Eagle fan. What an absolute glazed donut. I mean, I don't hate it, Sills. Kind of looking like the Green Bay a little bit. Well, where'd you get the OC from? AJ's as good as gone. Hey, by the way, you don't think there's any coincidence you signed this kid Wicks? He played in Green Bay, and the OC was in Green Bay? Probably not, right? Sills, what are your thoughts on Embiid? I think his might all pills. And what was it? he had to apologize. What was it? Somebody in the media had to apologize for Joel Embiid. What was it? Joel Embiid had what ended up happening? Something in his knee, right? What happened with Embiid? $12.5 means nothing during the offseason. You know, there's $15 million. Whatever, guy. You don't want to believe it? You missed my super chat. North came on. Let me see here. I'll go back and get it. Okay. You think a team offered? No, okay, we got that. Let me go back here. Khalid. Double check. Wick is useless. No, you got that. Let me go to Kyle. Got to find Kyle. Let's see, Kyle. Mike North came on. I don't see it, Kyle. Here it is. Who you always pick at 23 right now? Lomo or Proctor? I'm not picking an offensive lineman if A.J. Brown's out the building. And by the way, I'm not picking an old lineman at 23. Proctor and Lomo, they're all the same. I could get somebody just as good in the second round. Okay. Kyle, at 23, do you think there's any... Here, let me go to the Eagles picks in 2026, their draft. Eagles picks in 2026 draft. Okay. They've got the 23rd and the 54th pick. Kyle, do you think there's any difference between the 23rd and the 54th player taken in this NFL draft? I say there's no difference. I don't think there's any difference in O-lineman talent between the 23rd pick and the 54th player taken. And if I could grab the same guy at 54, I will. There's no difference. Eagles can still take a wide receiver in the first. All the players they signed so far on one-year rentals. Yeah. Still, not to change the topic, but have you watched any of Porter and the Flyers? He looks like the real deal. I think he will be better. Listen, I'll tell you what, Mike. I think that they have done a phenomenal job. And we should probably get our friend back on, Keith Jones. We've had Keith on before. And Mike, I'm glad to see the Flyers back on being a playoff type team. I don't know. I still think they need to continue to improve the depth, especially their wingers. But I'm really impressed with what they're doing, okay? I really am. And I think Keith Jones has done a hell of a job. We are seeing a shift in the offense also, Sills. Myles Garrett didn't report to camp. Coincidence? Time for the defense to the top priority now. Did you see he also lost $1 million? So Myles Garrett, okay? Myles Garrett didn't show up, and he forfeited $1 million. AJ can walk for two second-round picks. That could be 2 twos. Why don't people understand the business side of this? To unload AJ, you get something now for him while you can get it. It gives options. Hey, Sasha, if they don't trade AJ Brown this year, they'll never get a 1 or a 2 ever again for the guy. That's not going to happen. He'll be traded for 3s and 4s and 5s after this year, especially when that offense hits the shit wall. Yeah. So you're not ever going to get the value you're going to get for A.J. Brown. like ever. Okay? Get this. See this? AJ ain't going anywhere for less than Waddle. Get this. You will never get more value ever again for AJ Brown next year or the year after. It's over. You'll never get a one again for him. Especially in that dog shit offense you're going to try to run this year. Do you think the quarterback out of Penn State, Alar? I think the Eagles could draft him in the 3rd round. Since the Pats know the Eagles need to get rid of AJ now, I would lower the offer. Correct? Correct. Well, here, wait a minute here. Dog shit offense that just keeps winning. No, that offense doesn't. Makes you angry. We love it. Hang on. That offense doesn't win. The offense that you're going to put in there, you have no idea what you're talking about. It's only theory. You're not running the same offense. You fired Stoutland. You fired the quarterback coach. You fired the OC. You fired the passing game coordinator. And you've hired all new people from the Sean McVay tree. All the things you're saying aren't true. This is not the same offense. Don't know what you're talking about. Once again, don't know what you're talking about. Oh, asshat. This guy's got multiple he's got multiple handles here, I see. Seals, tell Midnight to lay off the crack pipe. No, it's LJ. So keep going at it. I'm convinced that some of these Eagle fans only watch Eagle games and have no idea what an efficient offense looks like. Agreed. Seals, do you think Jalen could benefit without AJ since he won't have a primary target anymore? You mean like you think he could spread the ball around? No, I don't think he's that quarterback. The 2022 Jalen Hurts is the best Jalen Hurts you've ever seen. Is that not true, Martin? I know you and I differ sometimes, but don't you agree? The best year that Jalen Hurts has ever had as an Eagle quarterback was 2022. If he doesn't look like that in any respected year, Jalen Hurts in a Sean McVay offense, I don't believe he can run it. He's not shown me any skill where he's run that offense. Don't you think they will use what they get from AJ to move up in the draft and to use it for DE? Maybe. You saying they're going to be a shit offense means as much as you saying they could be a good offense. We won't know until we see it. You know the problem with Dave's take is? So you've got a Super Bowl MVP player. You've got a football team that's 50-18. And you know what Dave is saying to you guys? We're going to go into 2026 not knowing shit on how it's going to look. Hey, Dave, congratulations to you. I know how the Rams are going to look. I know how the Chiefs are going to look. I pretty much know how the Seahawks are going to look. I know all the contending teams. I know how the Bears are going to look. But you're going to go into the season not knowing shit about your offense. Is that right? Some strategy guy. So you think that Hurts lacks the physical traits? No, I think not physical traits to run a pass-heavy offense. I think he lacks the technical traits to be a drop-back quarterback. Or is it just he mentally can't do it? I think Jalen Hurts is a very smart player. And for the record, I want it to be said again. I don't think he sucks. I never said that. He's limited. I don't care if Hurts throws for 3,000 yards or 4,000 yards. If we are winning, that's all that matters. Well, then, PR. I hope this is somebody that's real. Then why are you changing? Because that's all you were doing was winning. then why are you changing? Sills, 2026 offense will be Smitty at wideout 1, and wide receiver 2 will be a committee. Honestly, might not be that bad. This gives me Kansas City vibes after they traded Hill. You were talking about Patrick Mahomes, and you're comparing Patrick Mahomes to Jalen Hurts? That's the truth, but nothing we can do about that. What I do know is last year our offense was shit. So, like Mark says, we have nowhere but to go up. Dude, that's some strategy. If you're 50-18 and you've won 2 NFC championships and you've gone to a Super Bowl, why are you changing? Seals two receivers. I'd stay away from Concepcion and Boston. If it wasn't for Bell injury, he'd be the one going for in round 1. Parcells always said the reps matter. Look at Bo Nix. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because he won't run, and they want a top 10 passing offense, not a bottom of the league. What was that one thing here that so what was that one? Somebody sent me this, and it was a Jeff McClain bite. Here it is right here. So this is Jeff McClain on the Eagles not extending Jalen Hurts. You can't be near the bottom of the league in passing 2 years in a row. With the amount of talent that we have, it's unacceptable. Eagles reporter Jeff McClain on why the Eagles are not extending Jalen Hurts. You understand that? They are not extending Jalen Hurts because the offense has stunk the last 2 years. You understand this, right? This is why they're not extending it. I didn't say that. Jeff McClain, who covers the team, said that. Okay? Jeff McClain said that. So this is the only outlet that keeps it real. When they held out AJ before the bye last year, we knew he was gone. Ben here on JAKIB. Well done, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. We told you 1,000% this guy was out. I've been telling you since January that he's not back on the team. You know what's funny? I hear John was like, what was it was like 60-30. I said to you the whole time, 90% this guy's out. 90% is gone. And I've been telling you since the beginning of the year. It's a 2 and a 3 right now. Why? Because we got friends inside the organization with New England. Has that changed? And all you do is sign wideouts. How come you're not signing edge rushers? Oh, no, not Jeff McClain. I guess the season is done for. Hey, dude, it's not that I think much of Jeff McClain. He's a guy that goes into that building, okay? He goes into that building every single week and does a job. Do you think that he would be allowed in that building with Bob Lang if he was printing lies? Do you think that? That he would be printing that? Yeah, spamming the dick riding Homer WIP listener makes it sad. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, Joe, I'm going to take a timeout here in a minute here because I got to do a read. Let me know. So that winning the Super Bowl is cool. I don't know. Still, I'm not a dumbass, bro. I would never compare Hurts to Mahomes. I don't mean that guy. You know that, Leon. I meant the offense. When Hill got traded, no, I got what your take is. I do. I got what your take is. Devontae Wicks, Hollywood, Darius Cooper, and a draft pick. How would you grade the draft room? Deeper. Deeper. I think you would be deeper. There's when you know you got the right guy. Guy's been to 5 Super Bowls. How you doing? Hurts is better than Patty Mahomes. Isn't that great? Man, I love it. I love me some M. Reyes. He's such a dope. God. Have you ever seen a dick riding fan before in your life like this guy? Man, it's unreal. It's wild, actually. Sounds like someone is making room for Myles Garrett. Maybe. I can't take you anymore, Emrys. I think we will learn a lot about Hurts this year. Rebuild for offense if he fails. If he fails, no need for aging wide receivers. AJ gone will help Hurts not to have to deal with headaches. Now that could be. Emrys, get off your knee pads, bud. Oh, there you go. I dig those type of super chats. Tell him to get off his knees. Like they're really exposing themselves hard this offseason. Hurts all of a sudden going to be Marino. Guys, the worst passer of any contending team in the league the last 2 years. Got mad at a poor reporter. Look what they're doing to her now. By the way, Diana Russini's getting, you know what? So they're killing the messenger, even though the story's true. What do you care about her personal life? I mean, what do you care? Okay? What do you care? All she did was cover AJ and boom. Hey, let me ask you this. Isn't it funny? Story came out about Vrabel and Diana Russini. The Eagles turned around on a Friday at around 5 o'clock. And Friday at 5 o'clock. Joe Krause is with me now. Joe Krause is in the big. Joe knows how teams and like news sources do things. They do things at 4 o'clock Friday. Then they have like a news dump on Friday at 4 going into the weekend because they knew they couldn't do this on Thursday. WrestleMania next week. We'll see if we get Goldberg on. Okay? What if Diane was spreading rumors for Vrabel to lower AJ's value? Sounds to me like Eagle fans should care. How do you know that? And how could she? Wait a second. Now, she could put a narrative out, but that would assume that Howie Roseman would be taking his cues from Diana Russini. You think Diana Russini has any influence on how Howie Roseman does trades and how he contacts teams? I think zero. No, Hurts is the only one with a no trade. I'm just saying other teams that listen, I don't believe Howie takes his cues from reporters. I'm not saying some of those reporters, like a Diana Russini, won't carry more weight and more water than other people would. Okay? Public perception matters when it comes to what teams will offer for supposedly disgruntled and hateful AJ. Well, that's exactly what my text message from Alonzo Highsmith said. Nobody's given a one for a disgruntled player. Huh. AJ just liked and then unliked the post saying AJ needs to get out of Philly as soon as possible. AJ gonna bash us so bad when he gets traded. Tell me that didn't happen just now. I wish to God somebody screenshot that. And if they did, will you please post it? Because it validates what we've been saying since January, that he was 1,000% out of here. AJ just liked and then unliked the post with someone saying AJ needs to get out of Philly as soon as possible. Oh, my. Oh, no. Hey, Eagle fans, I'll accept your apology now. I'm going to tweet this too. Hang on here, Joe, for a second. 7 minutes, I'll do something here. Hang on. Eagle fans. Eagles fans. Big Sills. Big Sills here. Hey, I guess I am a professional agitator. Hang on. Eagle fans. Big Sills here. I will be accepting your apology. I will be accepting your apologies. Right here. Right here. Now, for you not believing. For you not believing. Big Sills. Believing. Big Sills. When I said there was a 1,000%. There was a 1,000% chance. There was a 1,000% when I said there is, when I said 1,000%, I'll go there. AJ Brown will be traded. You're welcome. Oh, we got to put JAKIB on here. You're welcome, JAKIB. Big Sills, Eagle fans, Big Sills here. I'll be accepting your apologies right here now for you not believing Big Sills when I said 1,000% AJ Brown will be traded. You're welcome. Bang. There you go. Okay. So that's there you go. Okay, there you go. Sills, we need to get to find the dictation button for speech to text. There you go. Because the only thing worse than hearing you read is watching you. It's watching you die. My wife does the same shit. Let's see now. Okay. Let's go here. Hey, wait a minute. You're welcome, Twiz. AJ will be happy. You obviously don't know AJ. He'll never be happy. Who said he will be? I've been saying AJ was gone, even saying the Eagles shouldn't pay the $40 million dead cap. They should pay the $40 million dead cap hit. Everyone called me crazy, but I said he was gone. And how about this, though? They're not going to have to, bro. They're going to wait until after June 1, and it's going to be spread out. AJ's been to 2 Super Bowls and has had over 1,000 yards every year, and the Pats fans think they can make him happy. Who said they're going to make him happy? Who says they're going to make him happy? Nobody said that. I won't give you the satisfaction saying you're right. AJ is a lifer. How you doing? Oh, you won't, will you? Don't worry. Don't worry. Hey, Twiz. Twiz. In the end, we're always right. You got 2 super chat sills. I did? Let me see here. It's going to be an ugly divorce. Yes. I guaranteed, Sills, if AJ is traded, it won't be to New England. Okay. Somebody's got to find that for me, and they've got to tweet that. Somebody's got to tweet that out to me. Because I'd love to see that he liked that and then unliked it. It's going to go right. Poor everyone, man. Man, you guys are going to be upset. AJ will never be happy. He won a Super Bowl, and his first comment was, "It wasn't what I thought it would be." It sounded down. Whether he goes, he's going to start chirping there too. Yeah, he will start chirping. What happened? I'm talking to my boy Mike North, and all of a sudden, you give a guy $12.5 million to come play wide receiver. And you know what some people's thoughts are still? Hey, we're creating a deeper wide receiver room. Yeah, because you guys use so many wide receivers. I mean, unbelievable. You don't throw to the third receiver. However, AJ doesn't work. However, doesn't work for AJ. He works for and only cares about the overall interest of the Eagles. Enough said. Let's go, Big Cells. AJ Brown is gone silver, baby. New system. New system means what? You think you're keeping the guy? How can you run a new system with a quarterback who can't run a system? There you go. It's okay. Come on. There's more of you. I've been waiting. AJ with his old coach, be fine. Vrabe's not crappy, Nick. That's a great coach. Really is. That's a great coach, man. I like Mike Vrabel. Just wait and see. Okay. Here, let me show you this. So all of a sudden, Jalen Hurts is going to start throwing to the third wide out when he can't turn his back to the defense and doesn't like to play under center. But you think that guy's going to run a Sean McVay offense that requires both of those things. Get this. Requires both of those things to run a West Coast offense. So here, I'll show you this. According to you guys with this third wide receiver hole. Hold on here. Holy crap. Let's see here. Here we go. I did this yesterday. I'm going to do it again. So last year, the third wideout had how many catches? 18. Cooper had 9. There were 27 catches last year. In 2024, 5. in 2024, there were 19, 7, 26, 5. There were 31. Okay? So in the last 2 years, you've had 58 passes to your third wideout. And you two guys, and some of you guys think that the third wide receiver is the battle for 58 catches. And you gave a guy $12 million to battle for 58 catches. Is that right? Is that what, right? 58 catches. Hold on here. Hurts has won and made the playoffs. 6 different systems. Try again, Sills. No, it hasn't been. This is going to be completely different. This is a West Coast offense they're going to run. Try again? It's a West Coast offense, dude. They're going to play under center. He can't. He's got to turn his back to the defense. He doesn't want to. Bro, there's no shot in hell he can run a Sean McVay offense. 0. Seals, it was just confirmed to be a spam account. Okay? A lot of those that were thrown in the regular season games by McKee. Huh? All right, let me pay some bills here. Our great friends at Morgan & Morgan, the #1 injury law firm in all of America for a reason, and it is because they win. With over $30 billion recovered, it's the #1 injury law firm in all of America. My friends, do me a favor. Check them out. It'll be the easiest decision you make. I talk about the family in Pennsylvania that got a $650,000 offer. They ended up getting nearly $30 million in settlement. Or the family in Florida ended up being offered $350K. They ended up getting nearly $12 million in settlement. Do me a favor. Go online. Go forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sales sent you.
There's a reason the Karate Master was the #1 salesman in the lumber department.
Karate.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
He's blocked well and tries to cut through the middle. Oh!
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Wow, what a media dump by the Eagles in very Bob Langish. Okay, on a Friday, late in the afternoon. Okay, I mean, very, very Bob Langish that they would release this, knowing that this is going to create this kind of drama here. There's no doubt. Now that you're getting a guy that was in the system that Sean Mannion wants to run in Green Bay, you're bringing a wide receiver in that played in that system. I mean, what does that tell you? And by the way, that's the type of wide receiver they want to play in that system. And what is that? Guys that can be moved around in multiple positions. I really wonder what Vrabes and Rossini were thinking, though, with owners' meetings 2 hours away. Like they just didn't care. They are adults, but still. Dude, I don't care about that. That's not my deal. I really, that to me is, I don't cover people sleeping on their old man or a lady sleeping on her husband. I don't cover that. I don't give a shit about that stuff. I really don't. Now, look, like I said, we're not talking about people of the... Hey, and by the way, if you put... There's no doubt somebody put somebody on this. You can bet your ass. That's like Zander said, and I posted it earlier. That's a private investigator kind of deal. Could have been the husband, could have been the wife. I don't know. But again, now I'm starting to talk about shit that I don't care about. Some guy hired a private investigator to watch his old lady, and she's having a rendezvous with the head coach of the New England Patriots. How do I care about that? Well, Sills, don't you think that hurts the integrity of her stories? No, I don't. If you're going to risk something, and somebody's going to put something like that out there, I believe the story. Okay? All right? They're meeting with the stories. So again, just look up this Wicks dude, and now I know why I don't know anything about him. He's just a dude. So you just gave a dude $12.5 million? Having a deep Eagles wide receiver room is having it. I think they're improved in a way. They're deeper. I lived through the Eid era, and now Nick. Makes me wonder what was lacking then versus now. The Andy Reid era and Nick now. Well, Andy's a 10-time better coach than Nick. I think Howie's influence. Would you not agree? I think the difference between the Andy Reid era and the Nick Sirianni era, Howie's more involved. Whereas during the Andy era, Andy and Joe Banner were involved. Joe Banner was not the GM that Howie is. That's the difference. It's the GM. Joe Banner was not better and is not better than Howie Roseman. And that's the difference. If Andy had Howie Roseman, and Howie Roseman, not the first couple years, because the first couple years I showed you, he stunk as a GM. 11, 10, 12, 14. Those drafts were terrible. And he didn't have a very good reputation for drafting. Andy Reid was the GM, not Banner. Well, that's why Brett Veach is now the general manager. Everyone's like this. Well, Andy Reid is not picking the talent. Brett Veach and Andy Reid are picking the talent. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. Birds are trying to extend their window, and the best way to do this is to pay the defense and get a cost-controlled quarterback in the next 5 years. Hurts can elevate. He can't elevate others or carry. He gets carried. Birds need a quarterback to carry. Let me say this to you, my friend. Mac Jones could run the offense as effectively as Jalen Hurts will run this new offense. And he would come in at $25 million. And they'll do exactly what the Seahawks did. Okay? You could put Mac Jones in that huddle, and he would do a better job than Jalen Hurts. And he'd be able to spread the football around more. And quite frankly, again, and by the way, folks, let's ask this question one more time. What they're doing offensively, do you guys agree? What they're doing offensively, they would rather have a style of quarterback like a Brock Purdy, a Mac Jones, more so than a dual threat guy running Sean McVay's style of offense. Is that correct? Prior to 21, Roseman drafted Pac-12 conference since 2021, mostly drafting SEC. Correct. Folks, James, right? Think about it. A $30 million quarterback just won the Super Bowl. And you're building the offense not for Jalen Hurts. You're building it for a drop back quarterback, not a dual threat guy. Hurts ain't dual threat, mofo. Can't even pass. Hey, by the way, are you going to extend Tanner McKee this offseason? His contract is up. Wouldn't that be wild if they extended Tanner McKee and gave him money and they didn't extend Hurts? Probably one of the reasons why they're kind of debating what to do here is this. Okay? You might want to keep McKee. Do you think Tanner is worth keeping to run this offense if Hurts fails, or will they look for a new blood at quarterback? This offense fits Tanner McKee better than Jalen Hurts. Okay? Style of play. How can he be trade bait? How many snaps has Tanner McKee taken in an NFL year? This guy just said he's trade bait. he's trade bait. How many passes has he thrown? 2025, he threw 43 passes. In 2024, he threw 45. This guy's got 88 total passes in his NFL career. And you think that's trade bait? Everybody pointing at Russini. And guess what? I worked on the New York Stock Exchange for GS. I'll get the reality of women in this industry. I get the reality of the women in this industry. But this is insider trading. And if that's the case, Vrabel is more guilty than her because that's right. Kim, if it comes out that that guy was giving her intel on trades and giving her a heads up on what Elliott Wolf was going to do and giving them a heads up on what the value of the trade was going to be, like say a 2 and a 3, and she's going out and she's reporting stories and she's manipulating through a narrative, not the general managers, but the perception with agents. Ask yourself this, Kim, I don't believe that Diana Russini can manipulate a general manager like Howie Roseman. But do you think that somebody like Diana Russini can manipulate an agent to know that, wait a minute, they're plugged in on those text messages. They're very close on the text messages. Somebody you trust and an agent. Here's Diana Russini say this. A.J. Brown's got kind of a knee injury, and then all of a sudden the agent for Devontae Adams calls the Rams saying, wait a minute, you're dealing my guy? No. We're not dealing anybody. You can manipulate agents, in my opinion, more than you can general managers. Because then maybe the agents don't want to call a team because they trust Diana Russini. The problem has become this. Diana Russini is on that group text message with all the agents. She's not manipulating the GMs. She is throwing a narrative out towards the agents because the agents have a closer relationship with her than the GMs do. How do you think she gets all those contract numbers? So the agents are not going to call Howie, and then the market shrinks. Don't you agree, Kim? If Diana Russini is not going to, she's not going to manipulate the general managers in the sport of football, but what she can manipulate is because she's on a group message with guys like Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, guys that we've called in the past, those big-time reporters, she's on a group message. She's one of the 7 people that's on it. She can manipulate the agents that are talking about potentially trading somebody, and you can have a narrative out there by saying, hey, I talked to the Eagles the other day, and the Eagles said that they were talking to the Rams. The Rams paused because the guy may have a knee injury. The bum leg thing, right? Because all of a sudden the Rams stopped. The Rams were in the process of potentially dealing AJ to the Rams. And the Rams, Devontae Adams coming back. The way the Birds want to play football, obviously, offensively, Hurts can't do it. He's not a good passer. The offense doesn't fit his skill set. That's like asking Stafford to run the RPO. Correct. It's not his skill set. It won't work. I agree. Sills, I remember when Jason Whitlock made comments about Joy Taylor. Make that make sense. Jason Whitlock making comments about Joy Taylor, about her skin and how well she looked. I'm staying away from something like that because that was disgusting. If you talk like that about somebody, that's disgusting. Joy's a friend of ours. My wife helped Joy Taylor get where she is. We put her on our show in Miami. People don't remember that. I was the first person to put her on the air because everybody thought she was a skirt. And Joy used to go to my wife and say, I cannot impress this guy. You know what Kim said? Work hard, get him a guest. She got me Dan Marino. And I said, good for you. Then she came to me one day and she goes, get this. We'll get Joy on again. Joy goes like this. Joe, you'll love this. So she's doing a weekend show at WQAM in Miami. She goes, I'd like you to listen. And I said, okay. She goes, did you listen? I said, yeah. I turned it off after 5 minutes. And she goes, why? She goes, I did a 2-hour show. You didn't hear it? I go, no, I turned it off after 5 minutes. And she goes, why? Well, you didn't say nothing. If you don't grab me in the first 5 minutes, I'm not watching you. I'm not listening to you. I don't give a shit about you. If you're going to be on the air, say something. That guy sucks. That guy's great. Let people know where you stand immediately. Don't meander into a topic. How many people meander into topics before you know it? You're like, this guy is boring. When you meander into topics, you're losing audience. You open your show and you go, that guy sucks. That guy's great. Whatever. Let them know where you stand. If you're going to be on the air, let people know where you stand. Well, I really think that the offseason is going to be a really great offseason for the Philadelphia Eagles. And you know what I really think? I think that if they really do well in the draft, and I think if they position themselves right, that, what the hell are you saying, guy? Everyone knows this. Can't tell you how boring Philly radio is now. What I love is also this one here, Big Joe. You got, so the Insider of the Year is Diana Russini on WIP. And the Broadcaster of the Year for Crossing Broad is Mike Missinelli. You got it going on in Philly. You got a guy who beat his bride up, and you got Diana Russini who's chasing a dude 2 hours away in the NFL owner meetings. That's some type of deal you got going there, man. I mean, that's quite classic. Mike Missinelli. Mike Missinelli pushed Joe in the elevator. People thought Joe was bullshitting. This guy slaps the shit out of his bride, and all of a sudden now he's arrested. You see Tony Bruno going off on X2 about the guy. Mike Missinelli's a scumbag. And that's the guy who was going around telling everybody like he knows me, called me a racist, this and that. And I'm like, hey, Mike, I may have said something back in the day in 2011. I never smacked the shit out of my wife. As a matter of fact, I've never raised my hand to my wife. My wife would hit me with a shovel. She'd hit me with a shovel. We don't play that shit around here. We like happy environment. That's the kind of world we live in. Everything's got to be happy. I joined at the wrong time. What's going on? You signed another wide receiver and AJ's out. How's that for you, JD? What a shocker. Couldn't happen to a scummier dude. I know, Joe. Punch up. I got you. I got it. So they ruined AJ's trade value? No. No. I don't think they ruined anything. Not at all. No. I think it's all good. Big Dom. They're saying now Big Dom was the guy that went over there and tried to like manipulate the value of like the trade. Thanks for a great show, Sills. I need to catch you on Outspoken this weekend. Thank you. Thank you so much, my friend. That would be cool. By the way, I appreciate everything here that happened because without here, I don't get that job. Sills, my mom almost beat a drunk chick for acting a fool. That's to be my wife, too. My wife's that way. Sills, so it looks like the 2 and 3 are on. Hey, Pietas. How long have I told you the Patriots and the Eagles are trading a 2 and a 3 or getting a 2 and a 3 from the Patriots? Since January. Okay. Oh, that's nice of you, Joe. So, guys, this weekend from noon until 2, Outspoken, and I'll tell you what's going on there with that. I think we got Rocco Mediate, and I think we got Ian Baker Finch talking Masters. Rick Barry's on, and I think David Justice is on with us this weekend. I'm saving Michael Irvin for next week for us, but from noon until 2, the show's already generated over 3.5 million people watching it in just 10 weeks. So, I mean, and it's a weekend show. Can you imagine if that thing was on the weekday and what that bad puppy would be? And so, yeah, we've got about 3.5 million folks that have watched that thing. So we appreciate that very much, man. I mean, really, it's really kicking ass. And yeah, so it's on Sports Grid. Make sure you watch it. It's noon until 3. And we've had some of the biggest guests. I mean, I'm even working on Adam Silver, the commissioner, because I've known the guy. I've told you guys. So I'm working on Adam Silver like next week and Ice Cube for next week as well. I think Michael Irvin's going to join us next week on this show on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's Tuesday. Michael Irvin's going to join us. So we'll be able to talk a little Dallas Cowboys. And also, you know that he's a big fan of Jalen Hurts. And we'll see what happens this weekend as we get closer to. So we appreciate you. Joe, thank you. Big Z, thank you. 2 to 6 on Monday. Have a great Masters weekend, and we'll see you on the flip side.